Tonight we have a chance to say, yeah, you're right. We're too extreme. We're too wild. We're too out of control. We're too full of our own shit. Or we have a chance to say, hey, fuck you, you're wrong. Fuck you, we're right. Because believe me, this is the dance. Start the show!
From pillar to post and coast to coast, this is The Law.
Here we go!
Your number one source for professional wrestling and mixed martial arts, news, interviews, and opinion.
We live for this!
With Dan the Mouth Lovranski.
Take it as the gospel!
Jason Agnew.
Don't make him anger, please.
And John Pollock.
Where's the producer?
Live audio wrestling.
Now it's time for streaming cause it's the law. I can't believe it!
Chicago is white hot for CM Punk. Two men leave with Money in the Bank briefcases from the Allstate Arena, and the WWE presents one of their most anticipated shows in years. Welcome to The Law, everybody, live audio wrestling. My name is John Pollock, and I'm going to be joined by Dan the Mouth Lovranski and Jason Agnew in just a couple of minutes as the Money in the Bank pay-per-view has just wrapped up from the Allstate Arena in Chicago, Illinois, and what an awesome show. We're going to be chatting about the entire pay-per-view card, featuring tons of twists and turns, two Money in the Bank winners, and a huge main event. That's going to be coming up, but we want to hear from you tonight, everyone. The phone lines are going to be opened up all night long, 1-888-942-7326. In addition to that, we want to hear from you online. Join us at twitter.com/lawradio or hit us up on Facebook, facebook.com/live audio wrestling. This is a pay-per-view that I have been getting emails, tweets, Facebook postings for the last week. Fans who have not ordered a WWE pay-per-view in years coming back tonight to spend their $44.95, or maybe it was $54.95 if you were enjoying it in high definition, to check out the WWE product. The 20-something fan that maybe has been a little discouraged over the last couple of years with the WWE's changes, with the push of John Cena. CM Punk has reinvigorated an entire fan base that I think came back tonight. How is this pay-per-view going to do pay-per-view buy-wise? We want to ask that about as well. We're going to be joined by Dave Meltzer of the Wrestling Observer newsletter. He's going to be chatting about the pay-per-view from tonight, and as well, title bout trivia for your chance to win a copy of the very best of Monday Nitro DVD. That's going to be coming up in the second hour. But up first, everyone, we're chatting about the WWE's Money in the Bank pay-per-view, one of the best WWE pay-per-views I think they have presented in the last 5 years. It's going to be a very call-heavy show, everybody, and we want to hear what you have to say about it as well. Once again, those numbers, 1-888-942-7326. And I was not killing time there because the music bed was running as Dave ran downstairs. But why not? Let's get into the pay-per-view, everybody, because it started off in grand fashion with a video profiling the entire last 3 weeks of WWE programming, featuring CM Punk's huge promo from a number of weeks ago in Las Vegas, and that would set up the start of this pay-per-view from the Allstate Arena in Chicago, Illinois. A very, very hot crowd. They announced a crowd at over 14,000 fans. They had put more tickets on sale this past week, and this was easily one of the hottest crowds that WWE has had on pay-per-view in years. Would you not say so, Mr. Agnew?
I would agree. I have not heard a crowd like this, like not even the Mania crowds, and of course, with WrestleMania, you're dealing with a bigger arena, so you lose a lot of the actual crowd sound. But this was absolutely phenomenal tonight as an overall pay-per-view.
Seriously, I cannot remember a crowd in, honestly, I'd have to say like a decade. I'd have to really sit down and think about the last time I heard a crowd that ballistic, because it was just off the charts right from the very beginning of the night right to the very end of the night. And even for matches you wouldn't even expect, they were going wild.
That they were. We got started with the SmackDown Money in the Bank match. Sin Cara, Justin Gabriel, Heath Slater, Cody Rhodes, Wade Barrett, Daniel Bryan, Kane, and Sheamus. And, yeah, this is where the crowd's popping for everything in this match. And it was, Money in the Bank last year was my favorite pay-per-view of the year. I cannot see this one not being my favorite pay-per-view of this year as well. And they got started really well with this match. I liked it.
It's going to be you're absolutely right about the pay-per-view thing. It's going to be a very hard show to top. It was absolutely insane. These guys were crazy. I mean, in both matches with the Money in the Bank stuff, they really played up the use of the ladders in this one. I think it seemed to me more than any Money in the Bank match in the past.
Yeah, in particular in the second one.
Yeah,
in this one.
But it seemed to be like going crazy with the use of the ladders in this one. But it was just what you would expect. It was a really great match to get the crowd, although you had a hot crowd anyway. You didn't even need the crowd to get it started, man. But there was some great spots in it, all kinds of crazy stunts as you would expect. See, now this is...
You're killing time here?
Notes,
all right.
Yes, so.
In this match, everyone ends up on the floor right away with Gabriel and Slater attacking everyone with the ladder as they fight to get into the ring. Gabriel shimmies on the ladder and then takes a dropkick from Daniel Bryan off the ladder. Daniel Bryan had his suicide dive, which is pretty crazy, to the floor. Then Justin Gabriel with a somersault over the top, hit Sin Cara with a top rope crossbody onto the floor, onto Sheamus. They really played up, the aerial guys were doing aerial stuff, and the big guys were doing a little bit more of the power moves. We had a CM Punk chant start about 10 minutes into this match, and that was a theme of the entire night.
Oh, yeah. No, for sure. There was an excellent spot in this match, too, where Sheamus gave Sin Cara a powerbomb on the ladder, and they actually took Sin Cara out of the match. So he actually got taken out of this match. They teased, they had Wade Barrett and Slater and Gabriel helping each other, of course. But, of course, when it came down to the nitty-gritty, they all argued with each other. Kane did the awesome LOD old school spot where Daniel Bryan was on Sheamus' shoulders and he did the clothesline off the top rope there, which was pretty cool. There was the other big spot too. Gabriel did a 450 off the ladder into Kane. That looked really nuts. And this is the basic finish, and this was a big surprise. I don't think a lot of people expected this guy to win, but it's really cool. I'm all for it. I thought it was awesome. It came down to Daniel Bryan and Wade Barrett on the ladder, and Bryan just able to knock Barrett off the ladder, and he got up there and got the briefcase. So Daniel Bryan has the SmackDown Money in the Bank case, and I loved it. I thought it was great. It was a very good match. Everybody worked really hard, and the crowd went friggin' ballistic.
We then go to a vignette backstage. This is from earlier today. It shows Vince McMahon pulling up in a limo with John Laurinaitis appearing on camera for this. He's, of course, the senior VP of Talent Relations in the WWE, and was mentioned in CM Punk's rant a couple weeks ago. And they also have an attorney with them. They state that CM Punk has not signed a contract, and they are actually in a meeting right now with him negotiating. Match number 2, WWE Divas belt, Brie Bella with Nikki versus Kelly Kelly with Eve. Kelly won in 5 minutes. Enough? Good? Okay. Mark Henry with Big Show is the next match after that.
You just didn't want to hear me crowd about Kelly for 10 minutes.
There's so much to get to in this pay-per-view. We'll just skip over these two, basically. The crowd was not into Mark Henry and Big Show at all, which is proof that no matter what you do to these guys, they're not going to get over, because it was a good angle leading up to it.
It was. Yeah, it was a short match. The basic finish, Mark Henry won. He did the double splash and pinned Big Show. And then he went and got a chair after the match, put it on Show's knee, and he jumped off the top rope a couple times to crush the leg there. But as Jay said, the only thing that really came out of it was as they're taking the Big Show out, the crowd's chanting huge for Cena and Punk. So, again, they weren't really into that one, which is unfortunate. But at least it was short. It was only 6 minutes, and on to the next thing.
WWE knew what they were doing tonight. They knew what the focus was. They knew what everybody wanted, and they gave it to them tonight. Now, there's a vignette here. McMahon is ranting backstage to John Laurinaitis. Josh Matthews walks in and asks the questions that's on everybody's mind. Did you resign CM Punk? McMahon says no. He says, for the record, Punk is the biggest ingrate he's ever dealt with. He says he's offered him the most lucrative contract he's ever offered anyone, and that Punk told him to simply get out. Matthews asks about John Cena, and Vince says that John Cena is the reason why he is in this position, and if Punk ends up leaving with the belt tonight, then God have mercy on John Cena's soul. And surprisingly enough, following that, we go to the Raw Money in the Bank match. I thought we would see Christian versus Randy Orton here, but in actuality, they're putting that one after this. So it's the Raw Money in the Bank match. Alberto Del Rio, Kofi Kingston, Rey Mysterio, Jack Swagger, The Miz, Alex Riley, R-Truth, Evan Bourne are in this match, and this mouth is really where the point you were making earlier came into play, where everybody, as they came down to the ring, they grabbed a ladder, small, large, medium, whatever. They got in the ring, and when the bell rang, all of them smashed ladders against one another.
Yeah, exactly. That's how that match started off. But you got to see some great stuff in this one. Evan Bourne did a crazy shooting star press off the ladder to everybody on the outside. Looked pretty crazy, but he was well protected in it, but it did look really good. They did a spot spot where Miz and Evan Bourne were on the ladder and Del Rio kind of pushed it over. And this spot, because of the way Miz landed, he landed on his leg and he teased his knee. And they actually had Miz. Miz was taken out about partway through this one. Ray got to do the 619 on Kofi Kingston on the ladder. Kofi was inside the ladder and Ray swung around and did it. That looked really cool. Truth tried to do a spot with Jack Swagger that they kind of messed up when they first tried it, where they were trying to flip. He was trying to flip the ladder into Truth's face, or Truth was trying to flip the ladder into Swagger's face there, and they kind of messed up that one. There was one spot too that I really liked where they had 3 ladders up and everybody in the match was on a ladder, all trying to get to the briefcase at once. I thought that was really good there. There was a spot too there where Kofi almost got it, but Swagger got up there, and they both took a bad bump off the ladder, and Kofi's leg, his leg came right across Swagger's throat as they landed on the ground, so that one didn't look good. Eventually, Miz did come back, limping back out. He tried to get back into the match. And in this one, the crowd, Rey Mysterio tried to stop Miz, and the crowd booed him.
Did they ever?
They booed Rey Mysterio like he was a heel.
Yeah.
That was unbelievable. Now, this was the finish. This was a really wicked finish, man. It was Rey Mysterio and Alberto Del Rio up there, and they're both fighting for the briefcase. Del Rio grabs the mask off Rey. So, of course, the luchador has to protect his face. That's the tradition. And they were on separate ladders. So the ladder that Rey was on fell over. Del Rio managed to... And then the ladder with Del Rio fell over as well. I don't know if it was supposed to go that way.
I don't think
and then
so.
Del Rio got the ladder up again, climbed up there, and got the briefcase. So as a lot of people, most people expected for the Raw when Alberto Del Rio did get the briefcase, and so he has got the championship shot with that one.
They then went to a vignette and came back to an interview backstage with Alberto Del Rio. Del Rio says he doesn't know why he was even in this match because he won the triple threat 3 weeks ago and was already the #1 contender. But tonight he proved that he is the best. Matthews then asks if this is part of his destiny, and Alberto says it's not part of his destiny. His destiny is to be champion. We go to match number 5 from there, the World Heavyweight Championship, Randy Orton versus Christian. The stipulation in this one is that if Randy gets DQ'd, Christian wins the title, and that does play into this match big time.
You know what? Despite the fact that a lot of people didn't care too much and that the feud has maybe gone on too long, I loved this match. I thought it was great. I thought this match was excellent, and the crowd really made this match too, man, because there were parts in this where they were the loudest of the night, and that's really saying something because they were loud all night long.
Well, this was a matter of these two performers making this work for them.
I thought it was awesome.
Initially, the crowd was not into this match. I don't really think they were. They were kind of into Orton, but they were quiet for the beginning, and it built throughout the entire match until the culmination when they just went insane. Louder cheers here than in either one of the first 2 Money in the Bank.
Oh no, absolutely. Seriously, to this point in the pay-per-view, this match had the most heat. No doubt about it for sure. The whole idea is that Christian would kind of get really close to winning, but he'd constantly be thwarted by Orton. That was kind of the story they were telling here. The big spot came when Christian spit in Orton's face, and it was gross, man. It went right in his mouth. It was nuts. And that friggin' kind of drove Orton over the deep end. He spit in his face. Orton went wild, and he kicked Christian right in the nuts there, gave him the low blow, and of course, that's a DQ. And of course, this time, for the first time ever in professional wrestling, the referee was actually paying attention during the low blow. So, of course, he was disqualified after that. So Christian did win the title, and Orton went nuts after the match. He beat him down on the announce desk. He gave him 2 RKOs on the announce desk. The crowd just went absolutely nuts for this, but no one came out to
Very
cash.
surprising.
Yeah, no one, especially because the beatdown by Orton was huge, so it looked like a setup for someone to come out and scarf the title, but nope. Christian is the champion.
Now, it's only about 10 o'clock at this point. We've got an hour left in the pay-per-view, and we're going to the WWE Championship match. It's CM Punk versus John Cena. They come out of a graphic package, or the build-up package, to the arena on a wide shot from, like, the rafters, with everyone in the arena on their feet, chanting CM Punk. His music then hits, and the crowd goes ridiculous. It was insane. They let Punk work the crowd for about 5 minutes when he goes out there. The crowd continues to go nuts. At one point, Punk takes off his shirt and goes and gives it to a lady at ringside. I'm guessing it was his mom that was at ringside there. Cena's music then hits, and the polar opposite happens. Deafening boos. Punk retreats to ringside and actually stands beside, this is when we actually finally see Colt Cabana and Ace Steel are at ringside in the front row, and ding, 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 it's on. They gave these guys a lot of time.
35 minutes.
sloppy match.
Yes.
But
you know
crazy for crowd.
Yeah, you know what? Exactly. I would not call it a 4-star match.
No.
In terms of the performance of Cena and Punk.
No.
But in terms of crowd heat and intensity, which is what you want, it was off the friggin' charts, man. It was friggin' crazy. They were so into Punk. It was really good. They did a whole bunch of great spots. But like Jay said, every once in a while they would do something that was a little bit on the sloppy side. They'd try to roll over or flip over or make a transition out of, say, an STF to something else that would somehow get a little bit on the sloppy side. They're like Cena, and man, Cena, learn how to do a fucking abdominal stretch, all right?
Yeah.
Like, Jesus, it's sad, man. It's freaking pathetic. Go on WWE Classics and watch how to freaking do an abdominal stretch there. It would take me way too long to go through everything that happened in this match. There was so much stuff. They did so many back and forth. Like, Cena must have done the attitude adjustment 3 times.
Yeah.
Punk tried for the go to sleep several times. This was crazy, but we'll basically bring her down to the finish here. And this is where we were kind of freaking, because we see Vince and Johnny Laurinaitis come out, and I'm thinking right away, okay, here we go, Montreal finish. We're going to do a Montreal finish, and sure enough, that is kind of where they went here. Vince was going, all right, he wanted the bell, ring the bell. So Johnny Laurinaitis was running over to get him to ring the bell, and Cena cut him right off, just smacked him right down. And so Punk got to go to sleep, though, after that, when Cena got back in the ring. So Punk did indeed win the match. He leaves with the championship. Vince did not look happy at all. He went over to the announcer's desk and he put on one of the headsets. And he's telling him to cut the music. He called for Alberto Del Rio to come out right away and instantly cash his Money in the Bank. So Del Rio comes running down the ramp. He dives into the ring, and Punk corks him with the belt and knocks him over.
No. He kicked him in the face.
Oh, sorry. Kicked him in the face. But the thing is, the bell didn't ring.
Right.
So he doesn't lose his Money in the Bank shot because the match didn't officially start. And this was the best. Punk took the belt and went into the crowd and just left with the belt. And that was your final image. Vince's sour-looking face and Punk leaving up near the concession stand with the belt. Awesome. Total thumbs up for me.
This is 2 thumbs up. This is the best pay-per-view that I have watched since... had that wrestling magic that makes you want to become a wrestling fan, makes you understand that why you are a wrestling fan. That was what tonight was.
It just showed me. To me, it's a little bit more than that, Jay. To me, this is like, all right, it's 2011. They worry about how to book things. They fuck up a lot of things. But this shows you right here, when you get a hot idea and you stick with it and you let them run with it, you let the performers have their say when they're smart enough to know and let them run with it, the crowd will respond. Because if Vince did not notice tonight how fucking hot that crowd was, he's friggin' blind. And it just goes to show you that when you do it right, even in 2011, we all know it's fake, we all know it's rigged. If you do it fucking right, it will work. That was total proof of that tonight.
Yeah, I don't think that this magic has been around maybe since One Night Stand with Paul Heyman.
I honestly, Jay, I can't think of a pay-per-view in a decade where the crowd response was that friggin' intense, unless it was a UFC pay-per-view. Now, a WWE Pro Wrestling pay-per-view, not even close. That crowd from start to finish. You have shows where the crowd builds and something where they're hot for one match and not for the rest. They were pretty well hot for the whole friggin' show. It was nuts. Total thumbs up as far as I'm concerned.
Indeed, and we are going to give you guys a lot of time to talk about this tonight on the program. John probably ran through it. We're going to be doing some of our regular stuff. Dave Meltzer will be here later on. Along with that, yes, we'll give you a little bit of news. A lot did happen this week, in particular in UFC land. Lots of developments there, but we want to hear what you have to say, so let's go right to the phones right now and chat about Money in the Bank. John.
Let's go to line number 4, Chad in Illinois, who was at the show tonight.
All right, Chad, give us the rundown. You must be deaf.
Oh, my God. If you can't tell, my voice was so damn hoarse.
Yeah.
I was screaming the whole time. It was the first WWE pay-per-view I've been to. And
oh, wow.
Oh, my God. It was the greatest experience of a live show I've ever been to in my entire life.
Yeah, that's pretty for your first pay-per-view. That's amazing, man. I hate to say that the rest of the ones you go to after this might all be a
slippery slope.
But yeah, it was an amazing show. In your opinion, what was the crowd the most into? I guess the main event, right?
Oh yeah, the main event. But aside from that, of course, probably the first SmackDown ladder match. Everybody was so built up, because before that, they were showing the packages, and then there was a huge CM Punk chant. I was telling John when I called him that the chants were so loud you could feel it like something in your chest, almost like you were at a rock concert.
Wow, awesome.
Now, what happened? Obviously, the last shot that we saw was, Vince McMahon's face as CM Punk ran through the crowd with the belt. What happened after that? Did it just stop? Lights go out? Did anyone go on the mic?
No, no one went on the mic. What happened was Vince was pacing around the ring, and then he gets in the ring, and then actually just looks around, just kind of eating up the heat. And then he gets out of the ring and walks to the back and stands in the back, does the usual Vince stuff, more heat, more eating it up. Well, then he goes to the back. Well, the refs all run out and help Johnny Ace up.
Right.
And then they're helping Johnny Ace to the back. And then when Johnny Ace gets about 3/4 of the way back, he collapses, and then they help him up. Well, Vince comes out, and he looks at Johnny Ace and starts jawing at him. And then Vince just pops Johnny Ace right in the mouth. Whole place explodes for that. And then they kind of go off, and then Justin Roberts thanks us for being there.
Holy cow!
Weird.
Wow, they really made Johnny Laurinaitis the scapegoat for everything, didn't they? Wow, that's amazing. Well, there you go.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for calling, and thanks for your constant updates tonight on the Law Facebook page as well, man.
No problem, guys. Take it easy.
Great. Talk to you later. That's awesome. All right, are we going to a break? Or we do another one, John?
Let's do one more quickly. Okay. Angelo's in Toronto on line 11.
Line 11. Angelo.
Hey, guys, what's up?
How's it going, brother?
Seriously, since the days of O'Grady, I have not seen a pay-per-view this hot, top to bottom. I mean, I was telling John, the only thing I would have done differently is I would have had Nikki Bella start the match, get beaten, and then Brie get on the mic and say, ha-ha, that was my sister, go in and then get her ass kicked. Other than that, it was phenomenal, top to bottom. I mean, and they've got so much potential with this. Tomorrow night, Triple H and Stephanie can come out, and Trips can take his "You Drop the Ball" promo, the one he used on Raw after Stone Cold beat Shawn Michaels at WrestleMania, and he reformed DX. He says, Vince, you dropped the ball. You've been removed as chairman of the board. How could you let the WWE title go? I've re-signed CM Punk. And, I mean, they've got they could not have CM Punk on TV for 3 weeks, and they could milk this week to week to week. I am so happy that they followed through. Mouth was saying so many times they start a hot angle and then they just bail on it. And if Cena would have won tonight and then Punk would have just kind of rode off into the sunset, what you would have said to the fans were, hey, you know what, we build up these great angles and then we're going to let you down. So, hey, buy our next pay-per-view. And you know what? Tonight I paid for it. I shelled out the $54.99, and let me tell you, it was worth every freaking penny. And yeah, I wish John Cena would learn how to do an abdominal stretch. You know what? There was a lot of talking in that main event between the two guys. It's like, come on, guys. It's the main event of the hottest pay-per-view in a decade. Like, learn to communicate without actually letting us know. Yeah. But It was great. And then they had the Montreal Screwjob, and then they had Del Rio come out, Cole Cabana's at ringside, and everyone's, all the things people thought were going to happen, and it was just a clean finish.
Yep.
It was a clean. Do you think it was a passing of the torch? Do you think the new dynasty, the new sort of top dog has taken over?
I don't know.
I don't know about that.
Well, we're going to have to see what the follow-up is tomorrow, right?
Yeah.
Because with this ending, it is not, to me, that is not guaranteed that Punk is leaving now with this kind of ending, right?
Well, we'll see what happens.
I think we're going to have to. I think we're going to at least. I don't know if we see him on the TV tomorrow or not, but
I hope not. He should not be on the TV tomorrow.
To me, it makes it a little bit more trickier actually doing it this way than having him leave without the belt.
Yeah,
this
better.
Is very tricky.
This is better.
Yeah, but they could easily fuck it up.
They could, but this is better.
It's at least it's interesting, and everybody wants to know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Guys, have we forgotten John Cena's been fired? We've seen him wrestle his last match.
Oh, yeah, that was a stiff tonight, wasn't it?
He will be on Impact, I guess.
Yeah, we'll see where they go with that one, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to see where we're going with the Law, man. Like Jay said, no guests on the program tonight. We're just going to take calls all night long. Dave Meltzer will join us, of course, as he always does. And we will play Title Bout Trivia. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, it is you. So 1-888-9-HARDCORE, 1-888-942-7326. Give us a call. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the Law right here on the Score, Sirius 158, home of the Hardcore.
This is the professional wrestling and mixed martial arts news of the week.
All right, welcome back to the program, ladies and gentlemen. We're just going to go through the quick stories here on the News of the Week, and then we'll get back to talking about tonight's Money in the Bank pay-per-view and getting some of your thoughts on what went down. All right, we're going to start with some TNA news here. There's been some talent changes in TNA over the last week, with Orlando Jordan being released and Generation Me, that's Max and Jeremy Buck, requesting their release.
In the case of Generation Me, the boys posted a lengthy blog talking about the problems they had over the last year after they were taken out of the tag division and placed in the X division. They also commented on their ill-fated breakup and how they were faces again shortly afterwards. Basically, they weren't being used even on house shows and therefore making no money, so they wanted to leave.
Now, on the sign-up side, Kid Cash announced on Twitter that he has re-signed with TNA. Of course, Cash was part of the Hardcore Justice event last August, and then he worked a three-way match a few weeks ago with Austin Aries and Jimmy Rave.
Jeff Katz, who is a former Fox and New Line executive who worked on X-Men Origins Wolverine and Freddy vs. Jason, has announced his new wrestling project. A 13-episode show entitled Wrestling Revolution will begin shooting in October, and that he inked a DVD and digital distribution deal with LA-based Image Entertainment. Katz claims that the show's, quote, will have a complete storyline like a comic book, end quote.
I'm actually curious to see some of that and see what he does.
I'm interested to see what talent he gets on board as well.
It's going to be interesting.
Like, how's Punk going to defend the title there?
Chris Jericho posted on Twitter that the Fozzy tour bus was involved in a serious crash while touring Europe after skidding on two wheels for 50 feet. The band did have to cancel a show in Denmark as a result, but luckily everybody on the bus was okay after the accident, and there were no injuries reported.
Steve Austin has posted that the WWE is producing the definitive DVD on his entire career in the Ultimate Stone Cold set. At one point, there were plans for a DVD release chronicling the feud between Austin and The Rock, but that looks to have been pushed back in lieu of the Bret Hart-Shawn Michaels DVD that will be coming out in October.
And here's a little Where Are They Now bit here. Former WCW wrestler Mike Sanders. Remember Mike Sanders, Jay?
I liked Mike Sanders.
Yeah,
he was great on the stick.
He was. Very good talker. Well, he's starting to get work as an actor. He was on the USA Network show Necessary Roughness this past week in the role of an obnoxious NASCAR driver.
The Fight Network has a great contest going on right now where their two winners will receive a pair of tickets to SummerSlam at the Staples Center and another 2 tickets to the SummerSlam Access event happening that weekend in Los Angeles. All you have to do is follow @FightNet on Twitter and retweet the contest details. Join the Facebook.com/Fight Network group, and the winners will be announced July 31st right here on The Law. Now, keep this in mind.
Yes.
The contest is only for the tickets. It does not include hotel or travel to the actual event in L.A. Therefore, you got to get there yourself. We'll give you tickets if you win.
There you go. Switching over to the world of MMA. Now, although constantly changing main events in the UFC happen every day, there was one this week that helped UFC 133 become an even more interesting show. Tito Ortiz will be taking his place for the injured Phil Davis against Rashad Evans at UFC 133. That's just a few weeks away, August the 6th in Philadelphia. Now, according to Dana White, Davis notified the promotion that he had a knee injury, and UFC sent him for an MRI to check it out. And after the results came in, Davis was forced to pull out. Now, White reached out to Ortiz, who first turned the fight down because he didn't feel it was enough time since his last fight, because he just fought July the 2nd against Ryan Bader.
White was first under the impression that Lyoto Machida was going to take the spot, but his management came back and wanted Anderson Silva money and was turned down by White for holding him up for more money. Ortiz later called back and asked if they had found a replacement, and he was told that they had not, and he said he would accept the fight on Wednesday morning.
Yeah, this is amazing. Now, White praised Ortiz for stepping up and stated that he would not be cut if he lost the fight, and that if he wins, Ortiz will be in the mix for a future title shot. White also said that the Davis injury is not serious enough for surgery, and he will rehab it and should be back soon. Now, here's an interesting side note. Both Chris Lieben and Chael Sonnen contacted White about taking the fight against Evans, but he turned them down.
And another quick note about UFC 133, Rich Franklin versus Antonio Rogerio Nogueira. Well, that fight is off as Nogueira suffered a shoulder injury in training, and they can't find a replacement for Franklin at this later date.
Dana White also confirmed this week that Brock Lesnar has been making a tremendous recovery and is currently unreachable here in Canada somewhere where he's farming, cut off from everybody.
Very weird. Mirko Cro Cop is scheduled to fight Roy Nelson in a heavyweight bout at UFC 137 on October 29th in Las Vegas underneath the Georges St. Pierre versus Nick Diaz welterweight title fight. Both men are coming off back-to-back losses, with Cro Cop dropping fights to Frank Mir last September and Brendan Schwab this past March, while Nelson went the distance and lost decisions in his last two fights to Junior Dos Santos and most recently Frank Mir in May of this year.
And finally, it looks like we'll get the much-anticipated Frank Edgar versus Gray Maynard rematch for the UFC lightweight title on October the 8th in Houston, Texas at UFC 136. Now, the two first fought in April 2008, with Maynard defeating the future champion. They had a rematch in January of this year, with Edgar remaining champion after the two fought to a draw. They were scheduled to fight again at UFC 130 back in May, but both were forced out due to injuries.
Ladies and gentlemen, the first thing I want to do is I want to have an informal poll.
The Law presents...
Can I have your attention, please?
Pollock's Power Poll.
Take out your cell phones, text your friends, send an email.
Call in now to have your say on the hot topic of the week.
The voices of each and every one of you.
1-888-9-HARDCORE. That's 1-888-942-7326.
Services.
Pollock's Power Poll.
Come on.
Money, 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 money.
All right, well, I don't think it takes any kind of rocket scientist to figure out where we're going tonight with Pollock's Power Poll. John?
That's it, Mouth. Who was the identity of the clown on Impact this past Thursday? If you have not read the spoilers. All night tonight, I'm sure many of you are going to want to chat about Money in the Bank, where they go, what are they going to set up on Raw Monday night, how long Punk is gone, lots of different directions they can go coming out of tonight, and what you thought. A lot of people that we've heard from already tonight haven't ordered any WWE pay-per-views in a while, but came back for tonight's show, paid for the pay-per-view, and what did you think tonight? Could this be a giant shift for the WWE tonight, bringing back an audience that had really been disenfranchised for a long time?
Yeah, that's it, exactly. And I mean, we've talked about this so many times because we've seen it. You know, they latch onto something great. Can they follow up? Like tomorrow's Raw is even more important because that show was so strong and so stellar tonight. Like tomorrow's show is incredibly important. And I didn't really think they would go the route of him actually leaving with the belt. I thought he would get screwed out of it somehow and someone else would have the title. So I'm really, really intrigued to see what they do and hope that they don't ruin it. Yeah,
I also like the fact that a lot of people were saying you have one or two of the Money in the Bank guys come down and go after the title. The way they did this with Alberto tonight is excellent because he comes down, he gets punked out, pardon the pun, but along with that, he doesn't lose that title shot with the actual briefcase. Now, granted, that title doesn't exist.
Well,
the
that's
title's
it.
Gone.
We'll find out what they're going to do, right? Will they just, exactly.
It's kind of difficult because the two hottest people on this show were Cena and Punk, and to really get this over, you shouldn't have either of them on Raw tomorrow night, theoretically. But it's going to be very difficult to sustain this without two of the key figures here.
I think, like Jay said earlier, you got to keep Punk off for sure.
Cena will be there.
I think exactly. You're going to see Cena on there.
Cena's got to be punished tomorrow, right? I mean, that's the way.
Thing. That's fire. I don't know if they have an actual firing because that's the stip, right?
Well, they did. Vince pushed that in that little vignette they did with him. Where he said, hell hath no fury, blah blah blah, or like, watch out, God have mercy on your soul. That was it. So they pushed it there. So I think that's where they're really going tomorrow night. We got a full slate of calls, though. Every line is full.
I'm not surprised.
Let's get to it, John.
Let's go to John in PEI on line number 6.
Line number 6. Hello, John. Welcome to the program.
Hey, guys. How you doing tonight?
Good.
Excellent. Listen, I just want to point out, first off, CM Punk does actually have 15 minutes left of his contract, so you never know what could happen.
Okay.
A couple quick things right off the bat. I'm one of the ones that hasn't bought a pay-per-view literally in years, and came back and paid my money for this one. And I literally was debating it up until $8.58. Do I get this pay-per-view?
Oh, really? Yeah.
I kid you not. And I finally said, I got to get it. And it was fantastic.
Yeah, it was really entertaining.
Well, it was a great payoff for a short build. It was the best payoff I've seen. This whole monthly pay-per-view thing has always been a I don't like it. It's
Yeah.
not enough build-up time.
Right.
But like I said, they did a great payoff for the short build.
So what do you think happens? Where do you think they go tomorrow night on Raw?
Oh, well, like I said, there's so many different ways to go with it, but the one place I really hope they go is with a new title belt.
Right.
I'm kind of sick of seeing that
the spinner belt. Yeah.
Oh, that was the one thing I was kind of hoping that they were going to take out of this whole thing, was getting rid of that awful, god-awful title belt there.
Yeah.
A couple things, though. I mean, once again, Daniel Bryan winning his match.
Yeah.
Well-deserved. Great worker. Fantastic. One of the best workers I've seen in years.
It's going to be really interesting to see how they follow up on his win, because he was not one of the guys. I mean, really on that side, most people were looking at Sheamus, maybe Wade Barrett to revitalize that, but they went with Daniel Bryan. So I'm very curious to see how they go about that. And it's always a bit strange too when a face has it, right? Yeah. When the face has the Money in the Bank case, so it's a natural thing for a heel, right? But I'm gonna be interested to see how they approach it with a baby face having it. But that was a nice surprise. But nobody was happier in the room than John Pollock, who actually picked him in our little poll there to see who won, and he actually won the cash. He won all the pizza money.
Yeah, he did. All right, John, let's keep going.
We will keep going, and let's go to Kenny from Texas on line 1.
Line 1. Hello there, Kenny. Oh, I dropped Kenny by accident. Sorry, John.
Oh.
Kenny, call back.
Kenny,
sorry.
Yes, call back, Kenny. Sorry.
Let's go to Mark in London, then line 3.
Line 3. Hey there, Mark.
Hey, guys. Just want to say I'm also one of the guys. I haven't watched any WWE since Mania, because Mania really pissed me off. But
right.
I'm kind of glad I got this one. I was watching this one been a fan of Bryan Danielson and CM Punk for years now. And I'm just thinking, maybe ROH announcing that they've signed CM Punk for just signed him, then have Daniel Bryan cash in at an ROH
At an ROH show?
Oh, my God.
Wow. Well, I don't see Vince going for something like that, but it's a neat idea, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just kind of thinking maybe the old... a little partnership with the old ECW.
Yeah. Interesting.
Just for a one-time thing, and also, about the Law Extra last week with you guys talking about Beefcake.
Yes.
I've had one meeting with him back when I was still training to be a wrestler, and he was at one of the shows, and I went up to introduce myself to him, and he kind of blew me off. So.
Oh, no way. Oh, there you go. And I don't know if this means much because it's considered the source, but Linda Hogan has nothing good to say about
Brutus Beefcake.
About Brutus Beefcake either in her book.
Wow.
So which actually on Law Extra tonight, John and I are going to do it for you listening online. I'm going to actually give my review of Linda's book.
Wow, there's something to...
Nothing sells a segment like that.
Yeah.
Linda Valea.
Yeah. Next up.
Yeah, let's go. Let's keep going.
Let's go to Kenny from Texas is back on
All
line
right,
1.
Kenny.
Line 1. Kenny, sorry about that. You're live now.
Hey, that's all right, guys. First things first, congratulations to CM Punk. It's a great day because I'm a loyal CM Punk fan, and it's about time that CM Punk stuck it to Vince McMahon and the WWE. You know, the WWE is going in the wrong direction with John Cena, and I think Vince McMahon Monday night needs to come out and fire John Cena indefinitely and get rid of John Cena because I think the WWE... You know, you got a big person coming out now, Alberto Del Rio, and I think Alberto Del Rio will turn the WWE around. Congratulations to Christian. I'm glad you beat Randy Orton because Randy Orton is a total nuisance, and I think the WWE needs to have a rivalry with Christian and Sheamus. Another thing, guys, I like to mention, I'm so sick and tired of this Kelly and the Bella Twins. You know, it's getting old. I want to see Karma come back and win the women's title. Let's have a new face, representing the WWE.
You know she's pregnant, right?
Sir?
Did you know she was pregnant?
Karma's pregnant, so we're not going to see her for at least 9 months.
But I would love to see her come back and win it,
Not for 9 months.
All right, okay.
Also, TNA, I like the direction TNA went with the X Division. I was glad to see that happen. I'm glad to see Sting back as world champion. I think Hogan and Bischoff is turning TNA around, and I think TNA is going to get a lot more viewers, in the months to come. I think they're going to shock the world.
So this was shock the world.
This was a good wrestling week for this guy. He was quite happy.
There's those calls, Mouse, that I don't know if it's fake.
Well, that one I think he does. I think
does he know it's
it was
fake?
borderline.
It
was borderline. It's not like some of those ones where we know right away. We just go. That was borderline, but I think he knows.
He's having a good mood tonight, so I didn't just come down.
Well, no, because I think he knows. I think it was just the way he was talking.
You think?
Yeah,
okay.
I think it was just his phrasing.
All right, okay, I'll let him go. All right, John, next up.
Let's go to Ted in Philadelphia. On line 12.
Line 12. Ted, wrestling's not real, but okay, good.
CM Punk is advertised for Raw tomorrow night.
He is.
If you guys don't know.
Is it in?
Is that on the WWE's website?
It's on some wrestling website. I read it on, but I don't know how true it is. It said he's advertised for Raw tomorrow night.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't watch the pay-per-view, but I liked it. I liked Bryan winning. I liked Del Rio winning. I liked Punk leaving at the end because it leaves so much intrigue for tomorrow night.
Yeah, and for sure.
I thought that promo on Monday was awesome. Having one to bring back to WWE ice cream bars.
Yeah.
Well, there was a lot of people tonight in the audience with the ice cream bar signs and stuff like that as well. Yeah. So it was definitely strong promo. Punk doing a good job. Basically anything he touches at this point is turned into gold. All right, John, next up.
Let's go to Rob on line 1. He was at the pay-per-view tonight.
Hey, Rob, how you doing?
Yo, guys, I am so hyped. Dude, this is better than 420, man. Oh, my God.
You're not going to believe this, man, because as a matter of fact, I was actually in the building at the top level where CM Punk was coming up through the crowd.
Yeah.
I was running after him after the event was over, dude. Oh, my God. This is a beautiful freaking day, man. Oh, my God, because I was
Double rainbow.
How was that?
Nothing. Go on.
Oh, God. No, because here's the thing. I saw the pay-per-view live, and, I mean, there's a difference when you watch it on television and when you watch it, live. There's a different type of energy.
Sure. Yeah, for sure.
But this type of energy you haven't seen, and I can't believe I'm actually going to say this, you haven't felt this type of energy since the Attitude Era, and that's saying a lot.
It is, absolutely.
Because, I mean, all the matches, the only couple matches that I didn't really critique well or didn't really like was obviously the Divas match, a.k.a. the bathroom match.
Yeah.
And also, and I know Mark Henry and Big Show try to do the best they could because they are big guys and whatever, but I'm sorry. Money in the Bank, in my opinion, at this point, is even better than WrestleMania. This was taken with care.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like 5 years in the making as far as what wrestling is trying to get back on track. Vince is actually, I'm hoping Vince is really listening to the fans this time because he's had his head up his ass for like years, and hopefully, and like I said, I saw Punk in the when he was running. I really as he was running, I was asking him a question. I was like, dude, how long are you gonna be? And he pulled up he gave me a little bit of a hint, and he put his hand down and put 2 fingers or 3 fingers. I don't know what that really meant, but just case in point, this was just a great night. I loved this event, dude. And now I gotta get worried about my flight because I'm stuck in. Yeah, dude, I hate Chicago. Dude, Chicago Airport sucks. I mean, it really sucks, especially during the summer.
I don't know. I've had pretty good experiences at Chicago Airport.
I've only been there once, so
I've go through there quite a bit. All right, John, next up.
Guys, it's been unanimously positive tonight, and we have got a caller who's very upset about tonight's show, and that is Greg in Winnipeg on line 12.
Line 12. Hello there, Greg.
Hey, long time no hear.
All right. Okay.
All right.
This is Greg in Winnipeg. I was back in the old when you're at another channel.
Yeah, great. Okay, that's great. What's your question?
Well, I'm not happy at the ending of this pay-per-view because I was hoping that in I would say 2.5 business quarters, per se, that we're going to get a Cena Rock WrestleMania 28 at the Rock's home stadium of Miami, Florida, and this basically puts a humongous monkey wrench in the whole situation here.
Because Cena's going to be fired tomorrow,
and then he can't fight Rock, I guess, right?
Exactamundo.
Well, what happened? But look back at what happened the last time Cena got fired. Did he actually get fired? No. Right?
True, but the thing is I'm thinking Mr. McMahon is not going to bring Cena out after all this.
Okay. Jay usually jumps in by now. I'm jumping in. Like, come on.
We gotta wait and find out. Okay, next up.
It's a work. It's a work, ladies and gentlemen.
Should have heard his promo he cut on me off.
Oh, wow.
Called me Sunshine.
Oh.
It's a work.
Let's go. Let's stay in Winnipeg with Mike on line 11.
Line 11. Hi there, Mike.
We'll be back by WrestleMania.
Listen, today's paper, everything you guys said is good about it. Like you said, the crowd, everything. But what's best about this one, I think, is every month we'd sit there and say, oh, here's what's going to happen, here's what's going to happen. And it happened. For once, things happened that you didn't expect. So it was good.
Mm-hmm. Well, definitely Daniel Bryan winning Money in the Bank was a surprise to me because I honestly thought he was just put in that match because you need a few good workers to carry all the craziness. So I was very surprised that he won. I'm very happy that he won.
Yeah, Bryan's a surprise, and Christian too. How many pay-per-views we watch him lose? And
I was surprised by that one too.
You know, Cena, it's almost a right that he's got to win. So for once, it's something different, eh?
Yep, that was very entertaining. Everybody's into it, so.
And there was a lot to watch for tonight. I was actually excited going into the pay-per-view.
You were very excited. Jay, when I read your predictions on the website,
they're extensive.
I'm like, I don't think I've ever seen Jay write this much of anything. No, not just wrestling, anything.
See, the nice thing is I was excited going in, still excited coming out. Completely and utterly lived up to my expectations. Yeah. And I had super high expectations.
I'm totally excited, and I agree with you, but the fear of it being fucked up tomorrow night is already starting to creep in on me. You have the glow.
Enjoy the moment.
You have the glow. I'm starting to feel this.
I'm like a pregnant lady right now. I have the glow.
That was not the analogy I would use.
All right.
Whatever.
Continuing on.
You are a little chubby, though.
John. It's just around the belly, so it's appropriate.
Line number 10, John is in Texas.
All right, John in Texas. Hello.
Hey, guys. I was really happy about the CM Punk game finally winning it. And Cena, I guess maybe this is the death of the PG era on the WWE.
Well, we'll see. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, they've got that big toy deal with Mattel. Linda still wants to run for the Senate again. So I don't know if we're going to – I don't think we'll ever get as crazy as Attitude Era, but I think they need to rough it up a little bit because people are tired of the cutesy Cena era for sure.
Yeah, hey guys, you think Cena's eventually going to turn heel? I think it's just like Hogan in '96. After this, he has to turn heel. I'm getting tired of Cena. I don't even feel any emotion when I see this guy in the ring. It's just pathetic. And, So
getting tired of him.
Your opinion, guys.
People have been tired of Cena for a long time and talking of him, turning heel. It's still that merch thing. This could be a way of kind of.
It might just be that what's needed, but this might be one of those times, Jay, where you've just got to, I'm sorry, we're going to take a little hit on the merch, but we've got to do this for the overall business.
Right now, Cena's not positioned as a heel, though. He is going against Vince here.
Yeah, but you could easily work it in a certain way to turn him heel.
You can work anything, but at this point, they're strong babyface with heel and strong babyface with Cena and strong heel for McMahon. They're doing that same promoter gimmick all over again.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll have to see what happens. Again, tomorrow night's Raw, incredibly important. I could see him maybe turning somehow heel out of this as Vince fires him and they bring him back somehow. I don't know.
No.
All right, we'll take a break here, and I argue with Jay about that. And we'll come back with Dave Meltzer from the Wrestling Observer newsletter, and, of course, Title Bout Trivia and more of your phone calls right here on The Law, on The Score, Sirius 158, home of the hardcore.
Wow, Way. Your first WWE pay-per-view of the year, I think you watched tonight.
I watched WrestleMania.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I watched it at your place.
That's right. You did come over for WrestleMania. But then you missed the pay-per-view where your sign was front and center.
I did. I was out. Sorry, I have a life to live. Not this crap.
What did you think of how they booked Cena and Punk?
I agree with what Dan and Jay are saying and what you just said. I totally think that they did a okay job, but of course it could have been better.
Do you know what our false recaps of pay-per-views have in common with WWF ice cream bars?
No.
Both are good humor. And coming up on Review Away, everyone, this week, what are we chatting about, Way?
We are chatting about SummerSlam 2003.
Yes, presented to you by Metallica.
Oh, that's right.
Saint Anger.
Yeah, Saint Anger.
Where you're so angry that your arm is red and is tied with barbed wire from the cover of the CD.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
And part of this extravaganza, we're going to see an Elimination Chamber match. Mm-hmm. We're going to see Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar.
A rematch from WrestleMania 19, this time without any concussions. Hopefully. And on top of that, what else stands out on this show? Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
But you'll want to hear me and Way recap the entire thing at reviewaway.com. It's going to be live right after the Law, around 1:05 a.m. Eastern Time. And then...
Hold on a second. By the time that they've downloaded this, it'll already be up. You don't have to push the time.
I guess not.
You can go right now.
Okay. Why are you waiting? iTunes, reviewaway.com. And then Monday night, midnight Eastern Time, Way, stickcam.com/reviewaway. But it's just easier to go to reviewaway.com for the live edition of Review a Raw.
All right, yes.
Man, we do a lot.
Good.
All right.
Good heart, so.
Well, you know what time it is now.
It's time to play the game.
It's time for the Wrestling Observer Extra.
Wrestling Observer Extra.
With Dave Meltzer.
By popular demand. Right here on the Law.
Live audio wrestling.
Welcome back to the program, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed the Law here, live audio wrestling on the Score, Sirius 158. We got Title Boat Trivia coming up here as well. Jay, what's on the block tonight?
What is it, another cage matches, John? Is that what we got? Or
the
WCW?
very best of Monday Nitro.
That's right,
Best of
WCW.
Nitro, okay. Excuse me, a lot of good matches on that one. So we'll be giving you your chance to win that as well. And, of course, we're going to take tons more of your calls. It's 1-888-942-7326, talking about tonight's Money in the Bank pay-per-view. And that's what I'm also going to talk about with our guest at this time from the Wrestling Observer newsletter. It's Dave Meltzer. Dave, how you doing?
Doing good. How are you?
Doing awesome after that pay-per-view, I have to say. First, before we start about particulars, match, storyline, where things are going, crowd. Let's talk about that crowd. Seriously, Dave, I cannot even remember in any kind of close history of a crowd being that hot at a pay-per-view.
Well, a big crowd. I mean, I've seen,
I mean, except for UFC shows.
There have been super hot crowds, but this was up there. I mean, this show in many ways reminded me of the Calgary, the Stampede show in '97.
Right.
It was just, where you had the hometown, the real hometown heroes, and they were just really, but that main event was super.
Yeah.
Just a super match, and overall this was, I thought it was one of the best pay-per-views the company's done in ever, or anyone's ever done. I would rate it near among the best pay-per-views ever.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a stellar show. Hot crowd right out of the gate. Couple little surprises. The SmackDown Money in the Bank match. I don't think many people were picking Daniel Bryan to come out on top in that one.
No, I was really surprised. I'd say I was really surprised with that one. They really teased the idea of Sheamus on TV. Daniel Bryan they hadn't really done much with. He'd kind of been in this mid-card thing with Cody Rhodes. So they were able to do that. I think that maybe the idea is that since a lot of people I think probably expected Alberto Del Rio to win.
Right.
So I think that maybe the idea is that we can't change that one, so let's change the other one. And it's great for Daniel Bryan because he pretty much has to win the championship at some point, which, without winning this thing, I don't know if he was going to get the championship this year. And now, to me, he's got to win it within the next year at some point.
Right. It'll be an interesting dynamic because I'm not, is this the first time a face has had one of the cases? Like it's usually
Kane had it.
When Punk was a face and turned himself heel with the case.
Right. I mean, most of the time it's a heel that gets the case. So I'm just interested.
It fits better for a heel because you are taking advantage of a situation to win it as opposed to going in and beating a guy in a one-on-one match.
Right. So I'm just curious how that's going to work with his character, who's a squeaky clean babyface.
Yeah. Well. Hopefully it won't be to win it and then turn, but it could be. I guess that would be you'd have to have a babyface champion to do that for him to beat, which right now we don't have.
And also on the Orton Christian match, I think was a bit of a surprise to everyone, especially seeing that. I mean, usually a stipulation like that doesn't usually come into play. I was quite surprised at the way that match played out.
Yeah, I thought that Orton would probably win, but when they did that stipulation, when they first announced that stipulation, I could see it as a way. I mean, the way that they worked, that they would give the title to Christian, because the mentality is that he never beat Orton, and he backdoored in, and that would give him heat, in a weird way. I don't like championships changing like that. It worked on this show because everything was backwards, and the crowd was all for Christian, so they didn't, but. And I think that I don't think that that's what they expected going in. I think that they probably figured that the people are going to be really mad. But since we're giving them exactly what they want in the Punk match, it doesn't matter because this match is, the Punk match is what the whole show was about.
Right.
So you could do it in this match, and as far as that went, I thought that the finish, like under normal circumstances, would have been terrible for a title change, but it wasn't so terrible tonight because of how the crowd reacted.
Yeah, the crowd was pretty hot on it as well. And funny, it looked like one of those kind of finishes, too, where you'd get a money. Like, to me, I thought a Money in the Bank winner was going to come out after that. Because that kind of Christian backdoors into it, and then he gets beat real quick again,
Yeah, I couldn't see that because I knew that they were going to send Del Rio out after the Punk match. And yeah, I just don't think you would want to do that in two straight matches. So it wasn't the time. Plus, Daniel Bryan winning it that quick, I think that you need him chasing. People aren't ready for Daniel Bryan to win the World Championship.
Well, that is very true. No, that's very true. And you're right. I mean, it could definitely work out well, especially if you have a heel champion, obviously, and it's kind of you build up the underground thing, even the underdog thing, even though he's got the briefcase.
Yeah.
So that could work. Let's talk obviously about the Punk thing here. Again, it was like you said, leading into the pay-per-view, there did seem to be a lot of things that would be predictable, but I thought they did a great job of kind of messing with us. And this one here, I really did not think Punk was going to leave with the title. I was very surprised by that. I thought somehow they'd get him off him before the end of the night.
Yeah, I think a lot of people did. I did too. I thought that I was sure he would beat Cena. Although I know some finishes that were suggested where he didn't, so I know it wasn't 100%. But I thought that if Cena had won, it would be like 1980 or whatever year that was, 1987 Chicago with WCW with Road Warriors and Tully and Arn.
Right.
That when they didn't put the title, then all of a sudden they pretty much killed Chicago. For their they were super hot. WCW was selling out Chicago every time. And then afterwards they never would do it. They weren't even doing half houses. And I think that. I think that there's no way that Punk couldn't at least beat Cena. That had to happen. From there, yeah, I did figure that someone would beat him and leave. But this worked really good. I mean, it was tremendous.
Yeah, no, very, very dramatic, that final shot of Punk leaving. I thought it was great to have Punk leave in the crowd like that. I thought it was very, very effective. Leaves us strong. And, totally, you have to tune in tomorrow night now. And again, once again, tomorrow night's Raw becomes incredibly important.
Yeah, I expect that they're going to have a really big rating tomorrow night, just because coming off of this and just the buzz. It was great for buzz, because I think that people, again, like I think a lot of people did expect that Punk would beat Cena, but I don't think that people really expected Punk leaving. I know I didn't, and it's good. It creates a lot of interest.
And what about the other side of it with the Cena stipulation of him being fired? Where do you go with that part of it? I mean, he lost the match.
We'll see, unless he's going to have he's been banged up for a long time, so maybe he's doing an injury thing. But if he's not taking time off, I mean, I don't know. We've already seen Cena fired last year, and I almost wish they didn't even do it because people aren't. I don't think people are really into that. I think the people just kind of see it as so fake. So again, it's interesting. I mean, the scenario, of course, is that Cena had the match won, and by being honest. It kind of ultra baby-faced him, while he lost, which I kind of mentally saw that spot coming in, where you would have the spot where Punk wins, where Cena clearly has the match won at one point and refuses to take the victory handed to him. So that was good. And, because there's a storyline there, yeah. But it's interesting because we got SummerSlam coming up, and I mean, it's got to be a big card because it's SummerSlam, so I'm just, I'm really curious, you know. And again, you pretty much they can get away this week, kind of with putting pieces together. But since it's SummerSlam, I think that you pretty much got to have the main event by at the latest next week because it's only it's mid-August.
Yep.
So you've got but you pretty much. I think you pretty much should set up the main event. So again, tomorrow's show. Tomorrow's show is just interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really curious to see how they handle this stuff with Punk because he has the belt now. Do they keep him off TV for a few months, or like I'm just perplexed on how they're going to handle it from here.
Yeah, they got him so hot, and they're so they hate keeping hot people off television.
Mm-hmm.
It's like goes against everything that they do, because every week is hot shotting for the ratings. So we'll see. I mean, we'll see if they can keep him off for 1 week.
Yeah.
Or how long they can keep him off. I don't see them going to SummerSlam without that championship at stake, but we'll see.
Yeah. An earlier caller on the program, Dave, suggested something, and I mean, personally, I don't know how it would work logistically, and I don't know if Vince would go for it, but having Punk go somewhere like to Ring of Honor claiming he's going to defend it there, and maybe we see a little footage of that on WWE TV, or maybe I don't know, them working with some other smaller groups to keep this going, or...
It's been suggested. I don't know, but yeah, it's for sure been suggested. I just don't know. Does he want his championship defended? In a small place in front of 500 people, and then show the footage on Raw where you got your great world champion out there in some
small
armory
place.
or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know that he does. But then again, they're clearly in a mood to shake things up, so I don't reject any idea.
Yeah.
But.
Well, isn't this all part of a movement as well, Dave, moving towards what they call more realistic, shoot style angles? And is that not something they're trying to work towards?
Well, I think that the reaction to this tells you that that's probably a good direction. I mean, I think that it got too campy. I think that to me the victory of this more than anything is a victory of non-scripted promos, and I'm not saying. Like shoot promos, because shoot promos are bullshit and they don't work. I mean, TNA does them all the time, or fake shoot promos. But going out there and being your own voice, and so many of these guys aren't their own voice. I mean, I watched, guys watching SmackDown, and I'm watching, I mean, I don't want to pick on anyone, but I'm going to. Cody Rhodes and Johnny Curtis. I'm just watching this, especially after Punk, and just going like, this stuff is, Cody Rhodes out there trying to memorize lines, and it's just so bad. And Johnny Curtis out there with these things that no human being would ever actually say as a wrestling promo.
Yeah.
It's like, come on. I mean, no one wants to see that shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it's very true. And it also, and when you have somebody who is as clever as a CM Punk or a Chris Jericho, to let them have that influence, because they're the ones that are out there working in front of the crowds every night. And those guys a lot of the time are the best at gauging what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at the best promos of the last year, okay, and there are exceptions to the rule, but most of them have been those rare promos that aren't scripted.
Yeah.
And I mean, just the one that pops into my head because I know it so well, it was the Ric Flair Jay Lethal thing, which was completely unscripted. Neither of those two. You had two guys, and one of whom has never even been in a big time situation when Jay Lethal, and they went out there. And neither of them, I mean, they had an idea of what they were going to do, but, Rick doesn't script or memorize anything. He does everything off the top of his head. And Jay Lethal had to do it with him. And it was just great. And it was, like, so memorable.
Mm-hmm.
And the Punk thing, it's like, they knew what he was going to say and everything, but that was clearly not a WWE writer scripted promo. That was someone who went out there, and it's like, okay, go out there. And, just the way he reacted to the crowd and things like that, that it wasn't a memorized promo, and it's like that's again. I mean, that's what wrestling always was, and I think that's one of the great things about wrestling is guys being themselves on promos, and for so long, the only guys that I got to see do that were MMA fighters, and I think that's one of the reasons why those MMA interviews got to be better than the wrestling interviews, and now I would not say that because. Right now, the wrestling interviews, when you have some of these wrestling interviews, blow away the MMA interviews because they're guys who are allowed to be themselves.
Yeah.
And, are in that position.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. Now, is there any any talk of the? I mean, we were teasing the idea a couple weeks ago of maybe Austin working with Punk or something involving Austin with Punk.
That's Punk's dream is to wrestle Austin at WrestleMania. Okay. Whether that's going to happen, it's 100% up to Austin. You know, I mean, if Austin, it's not like WWE's going to say no.
Sure, of
Austin
course.
Agrees. So it's just, does Austin want to do a match at WrestleMania at 46 years old? Actually, he'd be 47 years old by the time WrestleMania comes along. And I don't know the answer. I mean, Austin's never closed the door when I've talked to him about it, but he's always been like the door's. I've always got the impression the door's 95 to 98% shut, but never 100% shut.
Right.
And I know he likes Punk, and I think he likes what he's doing. But at the same time, this CM Punk is a babyface.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know that, and I don't think he should be a heel at WrestleMania.
Right.
So as a babyface, I don't think Austin's the guy. I don't think that match doesn't. To me, it doesn't work as well. Maybe he could do Rock because he's been insulting Rock so much. But Rock and Cena's already. They're not going to change that. That's there, and I would never make it a three-way. I think that's. That
would not be a good idea.
Obviously, the natural to go with is Triple H because it plays into the family here as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Cena and Triple H, as a match, absolutely. I mean, it has to be done at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And Mania is probably the time to do it. And Austin, whatever. I mean, Austin's his dream, but Triple H is the match that makes more sense.
All right. And just overall, in terms of the show, after watching the show, and you know how word of mouth works, and there are the replay advantage, how do you think this show is going to do in terms of buys and things like that? Cause
I don't want to put a number, but I think it's going to do huge.
Yeah.
I mean, for a B show, does that mean 200? I got my.
Well, Dave, I'll put it this way, Dave. We've already had several callers on the show who have said this is the first pay-per-view where they actually have dished out in a long time.
Along with that, our lines are full and your website has crashed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Well, based on the hype and everything like that, it should do hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
I mean, it should. Now, can it? I don't know. Is it going to do more than any B show in a long time? It's got to.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah,
I would think even with the good build going in, and now word of mouth for replays, I would think it's going to beat any of the B shows.
Any of the B shows in several years, probably since. The thing is, the ECW 2005, the ECW One Night Stand, the first one, not the second one.
Yeah,
that one had this feeling too. So I could see this doing, that level of number, which was, over 200 but not 300. That's in domestic. In the worldwide, it was, probably in the 280 range or something. I could see that, but maybe it just caught fire and is going to do more. Maybe it won't do as much. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm having, usually picking a number isn't that hard. This one I really am having a hard time with.
Yeah.
But it's going to do bigger than the B shows do by the B shows are doing under 100, so it's I'd be shocked if it did under 200.
No, absolutely. I agree, absolutely, for sure. All right, well, it's definitely going to be a very interesting Raw tomorrow night, and then see where they take these things. Just a couple other things I want to talk about too, though, Dave, while we're together here. The UFC stuff with Tito Ortiz coming back so fast to fight against Rashad. The pay-per-view, it's only 2-3 weeks away.
August 6th?
Yeah.
We're, just 3 weeks away.
It's funny because we have all these problems with injuries messing with main events, but this is one of those ones where it's made the show way more interesting.
The cat climbed a tree and came down, and he was in better shape than when he went up.
Yeah, it's
they rescued him, and he got a gold ribbon. It's a much bigger. It's much more intriguing. People, Phil Davis was a nobody to people.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a good fighter, and he probably will end up being a great fighter someday. He's got to develop aspects of his game. But Tito's a star, and
coming off that spectacular win over Ryan Bader, this is totally built-in underdog kind of story here. It's amazing.
Well, the thing that could be so awesome is if he wins. If he wins this one, because the winning of Ryan Bader was pretty awesome, but this is double awesome because then he goes in there and he's probably going to get a championship fight.
It would be.
Now, granted, it's against John Jones, which is maybe if he's lucky, Quentin Jackson will beat John Jones and Tito can fight Quentin because. Tito and Quentin, I mean, I wouldn't favor Tito in that one, but Tito and John Jones, I wouldn't want to be Tito. I mean, that's just a bad night for Tito.
Tito and Quentin Jackson would have excellent promos, too.
Well, they would, but they've trained in the same camp, too. Remember, they didn't want to fight each other.
They've been good friends in the past, but I can't imagine them not fighting for the championship if it comes up. But you know what, though? Well, no, if Tito wins, I mean, because if Quentin wins,
well, that's a big if.
To fight Tito because Rashad would have gotten beat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, that's a big if, though, Dave. There's
two big ifs. I think the odds of both of those happening are very long.
I think Tito's shot is better against Rashad than Rampage over Jones.
Well, I'll say this: I rewatched the Tito Rashad first fight, and it was very competitive.
Yep.
And it was a draw. And you could really, Tito won the fight except for that point deduction. So that tells you that at least 4 years ago, when Tito with a messed up back, and he says his back isn't hurt anymore, but Tito with a messed up back really did beat Rashad. I mean, he grabbed the fence, and the draw was a legitimate call. It really was. But the point is, he can beat Rashad 4 years ago with a bad back. Now he's older. Rashad's much better. Can he still do it? I mean, he's an underdog for a reason. He's an underdog because he's probably going to lose. But and Rashad's better than Ryan Bader, so it's going to be even tougher. But it makes for a better story. Unfortunately, that show is just falling apart.
Yeah.
I mean, Rich Franklin and Nogueira's now off the card.
Yeah.
It's been. I feel very, very sorry for UFC this last week. Having to patch this show together. One disaster after another.
But the Tito Ortiz thing totally saves it. I mean, like I said, I'm more interested now than I was before.
Yeah, but I mean, I still feel sorry for them because they came very close. Machida turned it down. Tito turned it down. So if Tito hadn't gone in, then they would have gone in with Matt Yushchenko. Then Matt Yushchenko gets hurt 2 days later. So it's like then they would have had to scrap Matt Yushchenko. You know what I mean? And it's just like, then Nogueira goes out. So then I guess you would probably have gone with Rich Franklin and
Rashad Evans
and Rashad, which I guess wouldn't have been a disaster. So
your undercard would have been really weak, though.
Yeah. I mean, but nevertheless, the headaches that they've had. I mean, even though they're going to end up with a bigger buy rate than they would have because of Tito. The fact is that I still feel sorry for them for all those headaches. I mean, it's like that card just keeps falling apart. I mean, they and the undercard they've done as decent a job. I mean, to me, Matt Hamill's actually a stronger opponent for Gustafsson than Matt Yushchenko anyway. So.
Right. And just quick thing, Dave. Any word on UFC, the TV? What's going to happen with the TV at the end of the year? They're going to be the deal is done with Spike. I'm just curious as to what's going to happen. I know Dana White is saying it's going to be huge, it's going to be big, but I'm just wondering where they go from here.
And as best I can tell, there's no deal signed. I mean, I talked to Dana this week about it, and Dana, if there wasn't, he didn't want to tell me, he would have no problem, not, telling me that there's no deal. That's Dana. Yeah. But the point is that I do believe, just judging from the way he talked, that there really isn't anything signed, because he said, TV, if it's not signed, you don't count on it.
Yeah.
And I've heard that so much about TV. I mean, everyone's that's dealt with TV knows that. So, things that you've got 100% locked. I mean, you've got it. You go in, and then somebody, if that contract's not signed, that doesn't mean that everyone will tell you it's done. It's not done. So, they don't. I don't believe they got the contract signed because I think if they did, it would get out. So, my thought is that. We don't know where it's going, and you can't judge. There's so many different ways. But that'll be the biggest story of the year. What's going to happen with Spike? Where's UFC going to end up? Because I really don't think they're going to wind up with Spike.
I mean, could they make? Is it good enough that they could make a leap right to like one of the big four or something like that, or is it always going to be a cable property?
I think largely a cable property, but that doesn't mean that they can't do 4 big shows a year. I mean, look. WWE does 2 one-hour specials a year on NBC that draw poor ratings.
Yeah.
A UFC show would do perhaps double the ratings of what a UFC live show would do, perhaps double the ratings with a stronger demo. So could they be on NBC on a Saturday night? Absolutely, I could see. But as far as like your regular property for Ultimate Fighter reality show, no way. No way. Ultimate Fighter reality show is going to be on cable. Will it be on Versus? Will it be on something else? Are they going to buy G4?
Right.
I mean, we got to wait and see.
Lots of different options. All right, Dave. Great talking to you as always. Enjoy it every single week. What's coming up in the Observer?
Well, we're going to talk about what happens here. I mean, that's going to be the big story.
Yeah, huge.
This last week we got all that history stuff. There's going to be any history this week.
No.
The history of the World Championship and the history of Strangler Lewis match with and Stecker feud.
Yeah.
But this week is going to be CM Punk.
Yeah. All right. Excellent. All right, Dave. Great. We'll talk to you again next Sunday night. Have a great week.
Okay. Have a great week too.
All right, Dave Meltzer from the Wrestling Observer Newsletter, and you can usually check out his website. Is it still crashed, Jay?
I can't get on it at the moment. No,
okay.
So they're working on it. I'm sure him and Alvarez have already done their show tonight as well.
That's right.
So
yeah, Wrestling
always good
Observer.
listening.
WrestlingObserver.com. Check it out. All right, we're going to take a break. Jay's coming back with some title bout trivia, so we need a couple combatants here. It's a 1-888-9 Hardcore, 1-888-942-7326. Talk to John Pollock, and you could be battling it out with the Quizmaster when the law continues right here on The Score, Sirius 158.
And now, it's time to begin our first bout of the evening.
Referee, can you imagine the physicality?
This bout is one heck of a ring-ding-dong dandy.
Just when they think they got the answers, I change the questions.
Go one-on-one. Get it done.
Nice shot, baby.
This is Title Bout Trivia with Jason Agnew.
I still got the belt.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the program here, live audio wrestling on The Score, Sirius 158. Coming up, we're going to get into tons more of your phone calls. The lines are completely jacked. Of course, everybody wants to talk about Money in the Bank, spectacular pay-per-view tonight from the WWE. But before we get back into that, it's time for our weekly dose of Title Bout Trivia with our own Wink Martindale, ladies and gentlemen, Jason Agnew.
All right, let's rock and roll. John Pollock, who is on the line to play today?
Line 8, we've got Peter from New Hampshire. And he's going to be going across the pond to take on Paul from the UK.
Wow.
On line 11. I don't even know if this DVD will work.
That's what I was going to say. Isn't it PAL in the UK?
Well, we'll figure something out. Maybe we'll send him the Linda Bolea book.
Oh, hey, there you go. That's a great prize. Peter, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Paul, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
All right, guys. Let's get ready to play the game and not make the Mary joke. Okay, so first one is for you there, Peter. At which WrestleMania did the first Money in the Bank match debut? Was it A, WrestleMania 19, B, WrestleMania 20, C, WrestleMania 21, or D, WrestleMania 22? Peter?
Would that be WrestleMania 20?
Losers.
No. Sorry, WrestleMania 21 was the correct answer there. Over to you now, Paul. Who was not a participant in that match? Is it A, Chris Jericho, B, Christian, C, Kane, or D, Jeff Hardy? Paul?
Jeff Hardy.
Yes.
You are a nerd.
Very good. All right, back over to you now, Peter. We heard Vince McMahon refer to CM Punk as Phil on Monday night, which is his real first name. But what is his real last name? Is it A, Brooks, B, Davis, C, Hendry, or D, Terry? Peter?
D.
D.
Malnurtured nightmare.
That line was awesome on Monday, wasn't it? Actually, the correct answer was A. Phil Brooks is CM Punk's real name. Okay, over to you now, Paul. If you get this, you win. How old is CM Punk? Is he A, 26, B, 28, C, 30, or D, 32? Paul?
30.
No, he is not. He's actually 32. Back over to you now, Peter. At Money in the Bank 2010, so last year's event, what was the main event? Was it A, Edge versus John Cena, B, John Cena versus Sheamus, C, Randy Orton versus John Cena, or D, Randy Orton versus Edge? Peter?
That was B, Cena versus Sheamus.
That is correct. Very good. Okay, over to you now, Paul. If you get this, you still do win. Who did Kelly Kelly walked in tonight's pay-per-view as the Divas champion, but last year she competed for the Women's Championship and lost at Money in the Bank. Who did she lose to? Was it A, Melina, B, Michelle McCool, C, Layla, or D, Eve Torres? Paul?
Michelle McCool?
No. Competed, I'm sure it was a late cool thing, but she actually competed against Layla in that match. All right, question 7 here. This one goes back over to you, Peter. This week it was confirmed that Phil Davis will be replaced by whom to face Rashad Evans? Was it A, Lyoto Machida, B, Vladimir Matyushenko, C, Tito Ortiz, or D, Forrest Griffin? Peter?
B.
No.
You got an awful lot to work on.
Man, we just
talked
long
about it. Yeah. We just talked
bit
about it with
Meltzer about that. All right, Paul, over to you to get this. If you get this right, you win. If you don't get it, nobody wins. Although Dana White said it was the end of the road for Mirko Cro Cop, it was confirmed this week that his next opponent will be whom? A, Czech Congo, B, Roy Nelson, C, Sergei Haratonov, or D, Brian Stan? Paul?
I don't know a thing about MMA. I'm going to pick B.
And you are correct in your answer of B. Roy Nelson is the correct answer. So we're sending that DVD of the Best of Nitro across the pond if it plays on your machine. If it doesn't, we'll send you the Linda Hogan book. No, we'll send you something
that's mean.
that you can read. That is decent. Probably. John will figure that out.
You can go out and get yourself an all-region DVD player, and then it'll play.
Yeah, if you have one of those, you're fine. You know what's weird? If you have a Mac, it only lets you switch regions like 4 times.
What do you mean 4 times?
I don't know. Like my Mac, I switched regions once and then did it again twice, and it was like you can only switch regions 2 more times, and then it's locked in to that's the region that you're in. It was weird.
Wow, that is weird.
I'm sure the Facebook wall is going to go nuts now with people telling me how to do a workaround for that.
It
was very strange.
That is strange. Yeah. Okay.
All right, let's go back to the phones here. We got a lot of you on the line. We want to get to all your calls. We may go over a little bit.
We're gonna go over.
The law overrun.
The law overrun will happen tonight. So, John, where are we headed?
We're going to Calgary on line 5 with Jessling.
Jessling, hello.
Oh, hello. Did I miss a good pay-per-view?
Yeah,
just a little.
You did. You missed one of the best ones in years, brother.
Oh, okay. I was hoping you guys would call me a dumbass because it's my first time call, and I thought the first time should be special.
No, it is special though. Okay, should I let him go on?
Yeah, let him go.
All right.
Go ahead.
Okay. So, how do you think they'll proceed with the angle? Do you think they'll keep Punk off of TV? In my opinion, the next step of the angle is just to vacate the title, announce a tournament, and then a few months later, Punk comes back and then feuds with that interim champion.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty decent idea, and we've heard that talked about on the show before. So that does make complete sense once they're over the fact that, we can't get him back.
Yeah.
And then announce a new title, and then it's a fake title when Punk comes back. But it's a little bit odd because you already do have a title in the organization, right?
Yes. You still have the one. You still have the one that Christian has.
Yeah,
right?
which is the world title.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It also wouldn't hurt if they just forgot all about it and focused just on one belt for a change. Wouldn't hurt either.
Yeah, it'd be a tough go because the importance of that belt seems to have been diminished over the past few years.
Yeah, it's true. The Raw
secondary
one is,
belt.
Yeah, no, it is. You're right. The Raw one is considered the main one. Yeah. It's but that's tournament. I mean, tournaments are always interesting.
They are.
They can work if you book them right.
If you book them right, and you don't do them all that often, TNA. Okay, John.
Sean's in Chicago on line 6, and he did not go to the show.
Okay, hello there, Sean. Welcome to the show.
Hey guys, I have 3 quick questions.
Okay.
Number 1, do we get a new belt out of this?
Well, let's hope so.
Tomorrow, or do you think we'll have to wait?
It depends which way they go. Like if they do decide to go the tournament route, then yes, we'll see a new belt. But if they decide to try to pursue Punk to get the belt back, I don't know, maybe we won't. I'm hoping we will too. I'm tired of the spinner belt.
Okay, two more questions. You were talking about it earlier, but I want to hit on it again. Would you say this is the best pay-per-view since One Night Stand with Van Dam and Cena?
I think so. I do. I think that there was just a certain magic tonight.
Totally, yeah. I think Dave made a great comparison when he compared it to the Canadian Stampede from 1997, where you had the 10-man tag, and all the Canadians who were the heels in the States were baby faces here, and the Americans were the heels. And that the crowd reactions, that was the last show I remember was super huge crowd reactions. It was off the charts for that pay-per-view.
And what do you guys think of the Kings of Wrestling signing with the WWE?
Kings of Wrestling going to the WWE. I mean, they'll probably get lost, and they probably won't be able to call themselves Kings of Wrestling. And there'll be a tag team that will debut and tag for about a month, and then they'll break them up, and then they'll disappear. I don't know. I mean, I hope they do well, but you know how it goes. I don't know.
Yeah, tag team wrestling not exactly a priority in the WWE.
Well, look at it tonight. The dark match tonight was tag team title match,
and the tag team champions lost. From what I remember,
it was a non-title match.
Sorry,
they
non-title.
Didn't switch the belts.
They didn't switch the belts,
but the tag champions fought in the dark match before the pay-per-view even starts. That shows you what they think about the tags.
Well, Otunga and McGillicuddy lost in a handicap match to John Cena on Monday night.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Next up,
Lion 12. Ryan is calling us from Ridgetown.
Hello there, Ryan.
Hey, how you guys doing tonight?
Good.
I just want to throw out there initially that this is our Rodney Rogers on the Facebook page, but I want to add something to the discussion of CM Punk. Paul Heyman has come out on Twitter with his first breaking his silence after his mention in the promo from a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
He says, now I'm not going to do a Derek Schluger impersonation of Heyman here, but he says it's been 20 days since that CM Punk turned the wrestling world and WWE completely upside down with his performance. If it's not what CM Punk said, it's the realism with which his promo was delivered. He felt it. So did millions of fans too. CM Punk is not the voice of the voiceless, he's the voice of today's generation. CM Punk is cool and badass, yet he's the man of principle. He translates to grown-ups and kids alike. I am a CM Punk guy. I just want to share that, and I'm out.
Cool. Thank you very much. This is very funny.
Yeah.
I like the I am a CM Punk guy. I'm a Paul Heyman guy. I like all that stuff. Next up, John.
We'll go to Dan in Chicago, who was at the pay-per-view on Line 5.
Line 5. Hello there, Dan.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Was it the best pay-per-view you ever been to?
I was there. I was at the Allstate for WrestleMania in 2006.
Okay.
That was pretty good. I know John Pollock was there.
Yeah, Pollock was at that one.
Yeah, I cannot see that show coming close to tonight.
No, it wasn't. It was just the energy in the building for the main event was just absolutely incredible.
Cool. All right.
Thank you very much.
That's it?
Yep.
Anything else?
Thanks for the phone call.
Okay.
No, he hung up.
Oh, he did? Okay.
All right. Next up, John.
Let's keep going. Steve's in Bradford, Line 1.
Line 1. Hello, Steve.
Hey, guys. The pay-per-view was awesome with what they did with CM Punk. Going in, we all thought that they could fuck this up in so many ways.
Yes.
But they delivered it, and it's to the point now where I'm not even thinking about it. I'm just sitting back, relaxing.
Watch it,
absorbing everything. It's to the point now where I'm not nitpicking at all the negativity about it. I'm enjoying it for what it is.
Yeah.
So for that to be at the top of the card, it's just amazing. Now, for the Money in the Bank matches, Del Rio, I think we all expected to win, but I don't know if you covered this a little earlier, but what do you think they're going to do with Ray since he stripped the mask right off of him?
I think they'll have him put it back on.
Yeah, I don't think it's any. No, it's not like it was a match for the stipulation where he has to unmask or anything like that. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if Ray is his first challenger as champion, and they play off that? Do they do a mask versus the title? I don't know.
Alberto doesn't have the belt yet, right? That's down the line. He just won Money in the Bank because all he won tonight. Right. He didn't win the belt. So I think they'll just kind of let it go. It was a nice touch, especially because they're releasing the DVD, which is the life of the Masked Man, and they're playing up the history of the mask and such.
Okay, but so since he doesn't have the title, then they could still do the feud. I could still see it happen.
How many times do we have to see Ray and Alberto?
Yeah,
We've seen it on SmackDown. We just saw it again on Raw.
I don't know.
I think it was nice tonight,
and that's it.
And then I think they'll just forget about it.
Well, with Del Rio, he cut in his promo saying that he won the number one contendership and then he won the briefcase. So he's on path to go to SummerSlam for the title. So I think that Ray may stay off TV for a little while, but he will get his revenge at some point.
All right. Cool.
And that's all I got for you guys.
Thank you very much for the phone call. Let's keep it rocking and rolling, John.
Line 3, Chris is in Brampton.
All right, Chris, welcome to the program.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good.
I just wanted to make some quick points about the pay-per-view today. It's
been a rocky year for me to watch the WWE over the last year.
All right.
Basically, long and short of it, the CM Punk match blew expectations other than the big ending at the end. That was pretty much the only thing that caught me as a surprise. I mean, I saw, the Vince screwjob cliche ending coming.
Yeah, you thought, yeah.
The only thing is...
So wait. So you just said that match was below expectations? Is that what you just said?
No. It blew expectations.
Oh, it blew? Oh, okay, blew. Okay, gotcha. Okay,
I mean, the only thing I was kind of shocked was the ladder match winners. That was pretty much the only thing that really shocked me. Watching the pay-per-view, I had anticipated, R-Truth winning the ladder match and then coming in and, winning the belt off of either Cena or CM Punk at the end of the night.
Really? I think you might have been one of the only people that expected R-Truth.
Yeah, expected R-Truth. His time
is come and
gone.
gone.
Exactly.
You're very right.
Yeah.
Well, I don't disagree with that. I just think from a storytelling point of view, it would totally solidify the whole conspiracy angle being done, thrown away.
I think it would have been to have him come in tonight, win the Money in the Bank. What you're saying, and then lose it right away is what you're saying, right? And that's a conspiracy.
Sorry, I'm stumbling here. What I had envisioned in my head was either preferably CM Punk winning and having the big celebration, and then R-Truth running down, winning the title, and then McMahon being happy, and then you have the big celebration for R-Truth the following night, and then you do whatever you need to do with them. But I was very happy with how it played out.
I think Punk's over a little bit more than R-Truth, so you can't just throw Punk away like that. I mean, you got to keep that. See, to me, is the huge challenge of tomorrow night is how do you keep this going without shitting on what you've set up and keeping it exciting, yet keeping Punk out. Honestly, I am surprised they went the route they went tonight because they've really set themselves up. They got to do some really friggin' smart, clever shit tomorrow to keep this going.
And that's what we said coming into the pay-per-view as well. So kudos. Like this is great. You were sitting here during the break saying, Jay, I might have to watch Raw live tomorrow night. Yeah. When's the last time you said that, man?
I very rarely. I usually watch it Sundays. I usually don't watch it till Sunday.
I watch it normally starting at 11 o'clock when it's done so I can PVR and fast forward through anything I don't like. Last week, I was excited to watch it. I watched it live. I went to a bar and I watched it with a group of my friends live. Right. I haven't done that since when we used to host those parties at O'Grady's.
Yeah.
When I wanted to. Oh, no. The night where Raw and Impact were on at the same time and we all got together and we had a good time watching it, right?
Yeah, that's true.
It's rare. Like tonight, all of us sat glued to the TV.
There was more people than usual watching the pay-per-view
with us. A non-wrestling fan thrown in.
Yeah.
Way came out tonight as well to watch it. Yeah. There was just a general excitement in the air to watch this pay-per-view. Anyone that paid for this pay-per-view tonight, and people always say I'm negative when it comes to pay-per-views and giving them thumbs down when the guys go out and work hard and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, they go out and work hard, but I always compared to the fact that if I'm dropping $50-$55 for this, I want to be entertained. Tonight, I was thoroughly entertained. A couple bumps in the road, but I'm not complaining. Everything that should have been accomplished was tonight, and
I was even better than even better than what we thought.
Yes.
Honestly, they took chances tonight. Daniel Bryan winning Money in the Bank, Christian winning the title, and Punk leaving with the belt, and everybody. I think everybody kind of had the nice, convenient ways worked out that they could do it and still get around everything, and they didn't go that route. And kudos, and they didn't just do swerves to freak us out. These were none of those upsets were swerves just to freak us out, right? So I'm really happy with the things going, but I'm very, very curious about tomorrow night and how it's going to play out. That's going to be very interesting.
Let's keep it going, John.
Line 9, Mike's in Toronto.
Line 9. Hello, Mike.
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good. Great.
I just want to say that the pay-per-view was awesome, and I just wanted to bring up, does anybody know if the injuries to Sin Cara and The Miz are legit, or are they both works?
The Miz one, I think, was a work, and I'm guessing the Sin Cara one was too. I mean, come on, he gave the guy a powerbomb on a ladder.
Yeah, I think the Miz one I questioned initially.
He oversold it too much. When it happened, he oversold way too much, so I knew it wasn't legit.
So, but
yeah, I was just thinking too. I'm thinking tomorrow night, we'll see how the angle gets followed up, but it would be wicked to see Mick Foley show up tomorrow night? Because you know how there had been rumblings that he was going to attend the pay-per-view live.
That's right.
As a fan?
That's true. I heard that as well. That he was going to the show. Yeah.
And maybe he could come up and do something like he did in Ring of Honor a couple of years ago with CM Punk, where defend the belt the right way on your way out of the company. Some kind of storyline like that they could do.
Yeah, you never know.
Just the storyline is his contract's up, though, right?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Foley's,
he's done. He's definitely done with TNA.
Yeah, but does he have a no compete? I mean,
TNA, no, they just let people do whatever the hell they want.
They have put some no competes on as well.
Oh no,
he was going to the show.
Here, we'll let you go, and you can be on Raw next week.
That's the Kevin Nash.
Yeah,
step.
well, there you go.
I think they do put some no competes on. I think Foley would most likely.
You know what? It's been a while though since he's been on.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the timing on that is, but I don't know. I am still under the impression that Mick Foley will come back, and when he does, he'll be the Raw GM. I think that's how they're going to sew up that angle. That's my thought, that's where he's going to be placed. Let's keep going with the phone calls. Woo!
Line 1, Jesse is in Chicago.
Jesse!
Man, that was a fucking great show to see live and fucking in person. I can promise you that.
All right. Don't hold back now.
I mean, damn, the Christian Orton match. I mean, that was a great storyline to fucking spit in his fucking face and, make him have the DQ. That was perfect.
Okay. The crowd
and speaking of one thing, too, while I'm on the subject of something, you said Kevin Nash. What is the fucking deal with him? What's going to happen?
Well, he's fighting Ricky Morton next.
Yeah, that's right.
It's a big internet angle going on.
Cutting promos on Ricky Morton.
He's got 2 big movies this year. He signed off for that Marvel movie and for Rock of Ages.
Yeah, the Ghost Rider sequel.
Doing pretty well.
Yeah, so he's getting paid some Hollywood dollars there. So and Ricky Morton.
What's up with that motherfucker?
Ricky, that was wow.
I enjoy that.
Call in every
See,
week.
that's what a good pay-per-view does to people.
Excites people.
Freaking wakes them up.
Makes them swear.
Yeah. Makes them swear.
Well, we're going to wake up.
I swear whether pay-per-view's good or bad, Jay.
It's true. No, you haven't sworn tonight.
Not at all?
I don't think so.
I don't know. You should probably go back and...
All right. Well, I'm sure some listener will tell us if Mouth has sworn on today's show, but I don't believe that he has.
I thought Dave was quite vocal tonight.
He was.
With
peppy. Well, he was just up his website. He's upset.
Well, that's it. His website crashed.
But, I mean, not just... Well, there's proof positive, too.
Absolutely.
WrestlingObserver.com is crashing.
And
people are flooding.
You know what? And this is really cool about Dave's website because it is kind of the pinnacle.
Yes.
Is that the reactions, like, he always puts posts on, did you buy the show? What did you think? Thumbs up, thumbs down. You can usually judge buy rates by how much people react to the site. Well, God, the site crashed. Like, I don't know. I think the buy rate's going to be a real big surprise on this one. I really do.
John?
Let's continue on and go to Topher in Augusta, Georgia on line 10.
Augusta, GA, home of James Brown.
Hey there, Topher.
Hey, guys. What's going on?
We are talking Money in the Bank.
I got a question for you guys about the Money in the Bank winners.
Okay.
Okay, now, correct me if I'm wrong, but, we got 2 guys that are holding the Money in the Bank that have submission finishers, right?
Yeah.
So certainly Daniel Bryan, yeah.
And
Alberto
with the arm.
Do you think that's going to affect the cash-ins?
You what, sorry?
Do you think that's going to affect any future cash-ins? Because in the past, it's always been someone with a quick finishing move, like Edge using Spear, CM Punk using Go to Sleep, So now that they both have submission holds, do you think that's going to affect a cash-in? How do you think that's going to work?
I don't think it's going to change anything. No, the guy will be beat up. He'll whip him into the submission hold. The guy will tap. That'll be it.
Oh, okay. I just want to know what you guys are opinion about it.
Cool.
Yep. Thanks for the phone call. Next up.
We will go to Baroni on line 11.
Line 11. All right, Rickoculus, let's go.
Hey, this is for the straight edge superstar for bringing back interesting into wrestling. Here it is, you straight edge.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I hope that John Cena does get fired, but it won't happen. And when it does happen, please just reinvent yourself because, brother, you have become ridiculous. Later, dude.
Thanks, right. I believe that's our first bong hit live on the air.
Yeah, we've had someone toke on the air before, but not necessarily the bong.
Oh, that was very good.
I thought Baroni was going to try to unflush a toilet tonight.
No.
Because he normally flushes.
No, this was much better.
A plunger, right. All right, John.
That was something else. Let's go to Mark in Grimsby on line number 2.
Line number 2. Hey there, Mark.
Hey, guys. I don't know how I'll follow that. But, okay, I was actually pleasantly surprised at the pay-per-view. I was kind of worried when Christian won the belt because I was thinking, okay, Christian won since Mine means Cena's going to win.
Right.
But I was very happy with it. And I think they should keep Punk off TV for a while. Maybe have him do like the old Chris Jericho thing when he sits by the pool with the belt and talk about where he's going to go with it.
That was awesome. Yeah.
So maybe they could do like little snapshots of him standing outside like the Impact Zone or standing outside the offices of New Japan.
Yeah, well, that would that would be cool to see some. Yeah, because he teased that in the promo. Maybe he'd go to New Japan. Yeah.
Like you could actually like mail those pictures into to Monday Night Raw and just hear the announcers get all upset about it.
Maybe if they're doing this email thing with the Raw GM, he can email the pictures to the Raw GM and have Michael Cole show them off on his iPad.
Yeah, there you go.
That would be very amusing and a good use of technology.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of stuff. Yeah, well, that's the thing nowadays with technology. Like, if this angle had been done in the past, they would probably do something where maybe they would go to the guys, maybe they go to Punk's house and he's got the belt there and he's mouthing off about it. He's done and he's not bringing it back. But, yeah, with social media now, there's so many different ways. Like you said, I'm so surprised that Punk hasn't put anything on his Twitter yet. I thought, right, like Jay said, right at midnight, he'll be on there because he's been very good using Twitter, right? He's not an idiot about it. Like
I was on there. We're just waiting for it to turn over to go hit midnight and for him to say like I'm free or something like that or some quote from a song about freedom,
Yeah.
But no, I didn't get anything. Surprising. John.
Let's go to line number 7. Joe is in Boston.
Hello there, Joe. Joe in Boston. Line 7. Hello. Nope. Joe is gone.
It's Morning Cena. Let's go to line number 4, and Anthony is in Mississauga.
Anthony, hello.
He was having a hit off the bong, I think.
Hello?
Hello, Anthony.
Hey, so I wanted to talk Christian Orton.
Okay.
I just thought Orton came across as a complete idiot, a total heel. If you walked in the middle of that match and you didn't know who the characters were supposed to be, would you believe Orton was supposed to be the face? Because he just lost it after the match. I thought he was an idiot for getting himself disqualified. He came off as stupid.
Right.
And I think Christian is just one of those guys, I don't think people are buying the turn. They've seen him come up from nothing. They've grown up with him, and now they want to see him get his due.
Right. He's at this point in time, I mean, I did like when Christian got that title. I would say title run, but there was no run. Title
but
walk
that,
for
if you go back to that match where he won the belt, though, that crowd wanted him to win
as
that
a baby
match.
face, and I think that's what Anthony's saying here is the fact that it's tough for them to buy into him as a heel. But the matches have been good between these two guys, and the crowd was definitely into what they were doing tonight. Though they were, I didn't really notice it while watching, but a couple of the callers have called in and said they were a pro-Christian crowd tonight as opposed to a pro-Orton. I thought Orton was pretty over tonight.
Yeah,
but I see what you mean.
Match, but I just think that it was poor use of both characters. I think Christian's kind of the respected veteran at this point, and Orton just comes across as a douche.
I think Orton's a better heel. And Orton would prefer playing a heel. He's easy to hate. He's a douche. You're right. He's a douchebag.
But that was the thing. He was so good at it that it's the Austin syndrome, right? You're so good at it that everybody loves you, and they turn you babyface.
Yeah, I don't like Orton. I don't really. I liked him as the heel, and I didn't want to see him turn face. And I haven't liked anything he's done since he's gone babyface. I just don't think he's as effective as a character.
No, I agree. His strength is a heel. It's like when Ric Flair is babyface. It doesn't really work.
Now it can, but back in the day, because now it's all novelty and everyone just wants to see Flair do really well. But, I mean, Orton's in his prime at this point and should be a heel. All right, next up, John.
We have located Joe in Boston. He's on line 10.
Line 10, Joe called back. Hello, Joe.
Hey, how you guys doing?
Doing well.
Great pay-per-view. I got together with some buddies. Haven't watched a pay-per-view together in, probably about 8 years.
Yep.
Held the beers in the fridge. We all went Pepsi tonight in honor of CM Punk. But no, it'd be a great match. The crowd was hot. At one point we thought when they were on the top rope, we thought he was going for the Pepsi plunge. I mean, that would have been pretty sweet.
Yeah.
I think the best way, I could just picture right now, you had the whole thing with CM Punk signing the WWE contract on the ROH belt. I could totally see him being on ROH TV, or on WWE TV tomorrow night signing an ROH contract on the WWE belt to bring that full circle.
Interesting. I mean, we talked about that idea earlier. I'm just not sure whether Vince would want to work with such a small organization or not, but it certainly has a cool story potential. Yeah. But then again, you never know. I mean, the gist of where they're going seems to be towards more shoot oriented kind of stuff. So maybe why wouldn't you do something like this?
I really hope that this is they stand up and take notice of this angle, how well it's done, and right smart.
They better.
And, right.
They'd be
like
really
this.
fucking stupid not to.
Yeah.
There, I swore. They'd be really stupid not to, because it's friggin' like that again. That crowd reaction last night was friggin' insane.
Yeah.
And they would, even Vince, who seems to be blind half the time, has got to realize how good this is going over. So yeah, hopefully, and maybe they will make things a little bit raunchier and a little bit nastier. I don't think they have to go all the way back to some of the gross vulgarities of the original Attitude.
Well, it wouldn't work.
It
wouldn't work right now.
But I do think you can be edgier, and I do think you can be raunchier. And I agree that it needs to be scruffed up around the edges. And I think Vince would be really stupid to ignore it, but he's ignored shit before. That he has. I don't know.
John.
Let's go to Ken in Scarborough on line 6.
Hey, Ken.
Hey there, Ken.
Whoever thought that mantra, the credo of the law, would be so in effect for tonight? Fuck you, you're wrong. Fuck you, we're right. Because believe me, this is the dance. I haven't heard a crowd reaction since One Night Stand 2006. If you were in my theater tonight, shouts out to Eglinton Town Center, by the way, the place was packed. Not a single seat left. And it was like you were there in Chicago tonight with Let's Go Cena, Cena Sucks. That's how emotionally involved everybody got into this match tonight. And like I tell you, to all you guys who decided to stay and watch on the stream, you did not do the wrestling business a favor tonight, because this one was worth every penny. That's all I got to say tonight.
Cool. Thank you very much for the phone call, Ken. Much appreciated. Keeping it going here on the overrun of live audio wrestling.
That's right. We're into the overrun.
The wee hours.
Let's go to Nate in Virginia on line number 8.
Line number 8. Nate!
What's going on, Brother Mouth and Brother Agnew?
All right.
We're doing good,
Rock
man.
and roll. It's the law brotherhood is taken to the airwaves here.
Man, let's do it.
All right, go ahead.
Hey, let me tell you, first going into the pay-per-view, I thought New Jack and Terry Runnels was going to be the story of the night. But fortunately, I was pleasantly surprised. I don't give the WWE credit most of the time because Vince McMahon has been a blessing and a curse to the industry. But tonight, I got to give a man his props. It was a great show.
Where do you see them going from here? Like, what do you think we're going to see on Raw tomorrow night?
So, see, that's the big question. And, it's great that we got all this buzz and this excitement, but how are you going to follow it up?
Mm-hmm.
And, I think they can go a couple different ways, with this. And my thing is you got to keep Punk off of TV. I know the temptation is going to be to bring him back on quickly, but you got to keep him off if you want to sell this angle.
That's
All
very
right,
true.
It's gonna be tomorrow night's show. So important, but you're right. It is great to see. It is great to have everybody happy and excited and actually interested in the product for a change. That's for sure. Because doesn't happen.
The only thing I hated on this show besides the Divas match was R-Truth didn't get the briefcase. I was like, come on, little Jimmy, can't we have one thing tonight?
Sorry, nothing for the little Jimmys tonight. All right, man.
All right,
Thanks a lot for the call, brother.
Nate. As always, good stuff. Next up.
Line 9, Ben is in Omaha.
Omaha, Ben. Hello.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Doing well.
Good. Hey, I love the pay-per-view tonight, obviously. I felt like I was a little kid again when I used to think it was real. But anyway, I wanted to talk about tomorrow night, what they might do on Raw. As far as CM Punk goes, I think they should keep him off of Raw, like you guys were talking about. And then for Cena, I could see them doing something where they have the contract signed against him and The Rock at next year's WrestleMania, so therefore they can't fire him. I think that they should, legitimately, say that he's fired and keep him off for a while. But obviously, you're not going to have CM Punk and Cena off on Raw at the same time.
I wonder. Do you have Rock come in at some point to beg to get Cena back or something like that?
I don't think there's.
That would be interesting too, especially with SummerSlam coming up. Bringing The Rock back and doing something like that, absolutely.
I don't think there's going to be time for it, though. I think your best point was the fact that you're not going to keep John Cena and CM Punk off the air at the same time. Here are your two lightning rods, one for the young kids, one for the the fans.
Well, I think coming on the angle, you got to have Cena's got to be on the TV tomorrow, but he's also got to be fired. Like that was the stipulation.
He's good. Yeah. Well, this could be part of the ruining of the angle if they do it. Is how they handle the Cena thing.
Like that's the thing. I mean, it's a tough one to do, exactly, because they don't want to obviously fire him, but I don't know. I mean, Rock's been cutting promos pretty regular online and on his own webpage and stuff like that. Let's say he doesn't show up on a Raw to plead to Vince McMahon to rehire him.
Well, Rock is teasing the fact that he's going to be at SummerSlam to have an altercation with Cena. Sorry, Survivor Series. That's what I meant. So, because that's where he debuted.
Well, I certainly don't see them keeping Cena off TV that long.
No.
That's not till Thanksgiving.
I don't think they're
going to
keep. I don't think Cena's going off TV at all.
So how are they going to explain it then?
Vince wants to punish him and keep him there.
That's it.
I don't know. We'll see tomorrow.
Okay.
We'll see tomorrow. Next up, John.
Chris is in San Diego on line 2.
Line 2. Hello there, Chris.
Yo.
What's happening?
John? Yeah, dude, that pay-per-view, awesome.
Yes.
It's making me regret buying freaking WrestleMania because that was a huge letdown.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm here to talk about Daniel Bryan. I got 2 questions.
Okay.
During the Christian beatdown, I was like waiting on freaking Daniel Bryan to cash in.
Oh no, we all thought somebody was coming out too, because I mean he RKO'd him like 3 times on the desk or something.
It was a perfect freaking opportunity. And then I was there like bringing him to the back. I was like thinking, oh, is Daniel Bryan going to come out? And he doesn't. I'm like, what the fuck? It's the perfect opportunity.
But you see, Daniel Bryan's a baby face, right? And it's not, the baby face would really not take advantage like that. Like, that's the thing with how a baby face having it. It's a harder, unless they turn, like what Punk did, where he turned after he got the Money in the Bank.
We did have a lot of people bring up a good example, and that was RVD a few years ago, and that set up the whole one-night stand, where he announces it ahead of time. I'm cashing it in at this date, so-and-so.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's going to be trickier with Daniel Bryan. It really is. It's going to be trickier.
So we're going to get more Christian versus Randy Orton matches? Because we've had like 5 already?
No, it looks like you get another one.
It does look like the story's going to continue, yeah.
Even though after that Mark Henry match tonight, they really seem to be setting up Mark Henry versus Randy Orton, but then they flipped the belt over to Christian.
That's the thing. They didn't follow through on that at all really tonight,
you can't have heel versus heel. That's right. All right.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much.
I mean, and again, please, Mark Henry's show is going to continue, Jay.
Well, show has a bad leg now, man.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. He's going to come back for his revenge now on Mark Henry.
I want to see a Big Show injury angle every other month. I enjoy his selling more than anything.
Oh, jeez, yeah, it's terrible.
Let's continue onwards to Chris in Newcastle on line 1.
Line 1. Hello there, Chris.
Hi, guys. How you doing tonight?
Good.
I love the pay-per-view.
Yep.
I just wanted to make a couple points. First of all, Christian, do you think that he'll have a long run with the title, or do you think he'll flip it right back?
Oh, shit, I hope not. Especially after the first one was only 5 days or whatever. I hope they let him have
well,
it
that's
for
what I was
a while,
thinking,
but,
too, yeah.
I hope so.
And about the match tonight, I think they could have did it a little differently the way he won. Like, I understand that the disqualification angle had to come into play, but what I would have had happen was when he brought the chair into the ring, had Orton pick the chair up and then had the ref take the chair away and then maybe give him the low blow or something and win that way. And like roll him up in a small package or something like that.
No, but, the adding the stipulation.
All right,
though, they choreographed it by adding that stipulation.
I kind of liked it because, to me, it actually made me believe that even though the guy knows if he gets DQ'd, he's in trouble, he was just so pissed that the guy spit in his face, he just kicked. Like, I kind of bought it. I actually kind of liked it.
Yeah.
The way it was executed, you know what I mean?
It made sense with the stipulation in that match.
And usually it doesn't. Usually a lot of the times that stip of do you get DQ'd and you lose the title doesn't even come into play. It's just kind of there.
Yeah.
Like, I liked those. It's actually played into it and it made sense.
It did. A lot of good things tonight. Next up, John.
Let's go to Stefan in Newmarket on line 3.
Line 3. Hello there, Stefan.
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me on tonight.
Good. Thanks for calling.
Just wanted to make one quick point here. Actually, two very quick ones. First up, I've been off the product for a long time, and tonight was just a lead up. In the last few weeks, a friend, gave me a call, told me what was going on, and I'm just total 180 from the nonsense that's been on TV the last few weeks, and especially the last couple of years. But just the second point, just to allude to what you said earlier about Punk being off the Twitter. I'm totally okay with it in so long as he makes his first appearance with the belt on Colt Cabana's Out of Wrestling podcast. I think that would
maybe he will, because he was just on it, right?
He was on it this week.
Yeah.
Exactly. And they were talking about kind of hyping up the pay-per-view, just talking about it. It was very clever what they did with it. Thank you very much for the phone call. We doing one more, John, or are we done?
Final call of the night goes to John in Arkansas.
Oh, John of Arc hung on till the end. Hello.
Gets to be the main
yes,
event.
All I can say is the rebel spirit lives with CM Punk. Bruiser Brody would be proud.
He certainly would.
This was just the greatest thing for me. I loved, most of the outcome, for the exception of the Kelly Big Show and Mark Henry abortion that was. Great stuff. I agree with you guys. No CM Punk on Raw, and I figure that what you guys said about Rock coming back in is the out clause, the way to get Cena back hired again. I do believe they will fire him tomorrow, and then Rock will come in and go, oh, but you got to get him back because we won our match, and yada, 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 that whole thing.
I could totally see that happening as well.
As far as the winners, I was shocked as shit with Daniel Bryan. I'm sitting here going, what? Did the universe just implode upon itself? What the hell happened?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, it was very surprising, but again, the way it was done, well, I'm just skeptical of a babyface with Money in the Bank, that's all.
All right, my question is, what belt does he go for when he goes for a belt?
Well, unless the rules have been changed, I believe that the belts are brand specific. The cases are brand specific. I mean, the Raw one is the Raw colors, the SmackDown one is the SmackDown colors. I don't think they cross over. We've had this debate going on the website as well when we mentioned a cross earlier, and I think because there are two now, you are only able to go for your one champion with the Money in the Bank, whereas if you win the Royal Rumble, because there's only one of you, you can go for either champion.
But we're only going to have one belt, though.
That's
what
true.
I was remembering, though, was when it originally started, though, you could go back and forth.
Yeah.
There was an understanding when they first did it that you could go for either side.
Yeah, but that was
you
when
could win it on the SmackDown side, but
John.
you could go for Raw.
Yeah, no, John, but that was when there was only one Money in the Bank, when it was done at WrestleMania, right? Then they divided up and they did a SmackDown one and they did a Raw one starting last year. So at that time, I believe, and I mean, they can change things, but I believe at that time was when they said, okay, it's brand specific. You can only go for the belt on your brand. That is a good point, though. I mean, if they're going to keep that championship off TV, then can Del Rio go and take a shot at the other belt?
Why not?
Maybe.
Absolutely.
Would he? Because his character's going to be interesting tomorrow, too, because now he's got this case. There's no title for him to go for.
Maybe he does vignettes where he goes looking for Punk.
Yeah, no, you're right. There's so much, and that's the other thing I love about this angle is that it's springing off into the other programs. It's going to affect a lot of other programs as well, which is really, really cool. All right, that's it for us, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed our extended edition of The Law. Tonight, John and I are going to be doing Law Extra. For those of you who are listening online on the website, we'll be getting right to that shortly. But I want to thank everybody for calling. Everybody that called that was there at the pay-per-view, watched the pay-per-view. It was great talking to everybody. Even those of you that still think it's real, it was awesome to talk to you guys. So we're going to be here back again next week. John Pollock, Jason Agnew, Dave behind the glass, the mouth right over here. So don't you dare miss it, ladies and gentlemen. It's live audio wrestling right here on The Score. Sirius 158, home of the hardcore brother.
Nobody goes anywhere. This night is not over.
Hey, network, I dare you to throw me off the air. Because I'm going to break every rule that you put in front of me until you throw me the hell off the air.
All right, welcome everyone to Law Extra. It's John Pollock and Dan the Mouth Lovranski after an extended edition of the Law Mouth.
Yeah.
You and I just can't stop talking.
Well, it was such a great pay-per-view and exciting. It's tough with anything. I mean, any kind of sport or entertainment, movies, whatever. There's always it's kind of just runs along and flows, but there's always going to be spectacular moments. We just haven't had something this spectacular, certainly in the WWE, in a long time, and everybody's really excited, which is great.
And that was the key tonight, bringing back a lot of fans that were somehow disenfranchised, and it's one of those nights where you look at, as much as people will talk about MMA being such big competition, it's like when wrestling is presented well, it doesn't matter. It comes down to something being something you're interested in and engaged
in. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. That's all it is. It's about creating an interesting storyline between interesting characters, and we want to see reasons why they fight. That's all there is to it. And that was one of the coolest things about tonight, John, because it is so hard in 2011 to get that where people do feel emotionally involved in pro wrestling, because everybody knows it's a work, and you have all these TNA trying to do shoot angles and all this stuff, and just throwing so much at us. So much gets thrown at us that it's really hard for certain things for you to latch onto it. But this one, it grabbed everybody. I can't believe how many people called tonight and saying, I haven't ordered anything in 5 years or 8. One guy said 8 years. He hasn't ordered a pay-per-view in 8 years. And he got this one tonight. So that, to me, that really says something.
We're going to get into your questions, but first, as we promised last week, Mouth has a big book review for us, everyone, courtesy of one, the former Linda Bolea. Even though she's still going by that name, I guess. Linda Hogan. I am so sorry.
Yeah, the book is actually credited to Linda Hogan. Yes, great. Linda Hogan, Wrestling the Hulk, My Life Against the Ropes. Now, before I start here, I want to say a couple of things, because John knows this. John and I are very avid readers. We love to read. We've always got a book on the go. We're reading magazines all the time. We're reading the paper every day. And I'm a huge fan of biographies and autobiographies. It's pretty well all I read. If I want to read fiction, I read comic books. But if it's books, I love reading about people and things and trying to find out. All right? And this kind of goes for the Brock Lesnar biography that just came out as well, the one that Paul Heyman ghost wrote with him. Because it has a lot of the same problems that the Linda Hogan book has. And it's like, when you sit down to read an autobiography from somebody, you want to know about their lives. You want to know what they've done. You got to assume, okay, the person's writing it, they're going to exaggerate certain things. Maybe they're going to bullshit a little bit. That's cool. But the thing you do not want in an autobiography, and this happened in the Brock one and in the Linda Hogan one, is you do not want the subject to sit there and use the whole fucking book to whine about what they don't like about their lives or bad shit that happened to them, and just whine. Brock Lesnar's book, so much of the book was centered around this whole thing about he hates being a public figure, and he hates it when people come up to him when he's having dinner with his wife and his kids and they ask for an autograph or a photo, and then it just comes up constantly in the book. He's constantly going on about this, like throughout the whole book, and it's like, you only need to say that shit once. You don't need to harp on it in the whole book. And I'm very surprised that Paul Heyman had as much involvement in that book as he did, because it was really, really a piss poor autobiography. And the Linda Hogan book suffers from that same problem, in that this is like Linda Hogan, the wife of Hulk Hogan, one of the biggest stars of the 80s. We want some friggin' insight into what happened from your point of view. We want some insight into Hogan. Maybe, I didn't expect a lot about the wrestling business, really. I didn't. But, you want some insight into Hogan's character, his background, what's he like. And certainly from Linda Hogan's perspective, you want to know a little bit about the stuff. To me, I thought she would talk a lot more about that horrible car accident with Nick and his friend John Graziano there that led to the guy being paralyzed and the lawsuits and all that kind of stuff. And she barely touched on that at all. But you know what she did? She harped and she bitched and she complains. In fact, the book is almost set up as one of those strange self-help things where she says, she gets the impression that if I tell you about all the bad stuff in my life with Hogan and how rough it was, that you can get out of your situation. Like, she's got all these pointers at the end and tips and little things that she says to look for. Like, there's a section in the book where she tells us how to identify whether our mate is cheating on us. It's like, that's not what I want to read in an autobiography. I want to read about people's lives. I want insight into your characters. I don't want bullshit like, oh, Hogan did this and Terry did this. And like almost right from the beginning, she's taken, I'm not the biggest Hogan fan in the world. You guys know that. But right from the very beginning, she's harping about Hogan. She's on about Hogan. Oh, I think he cheated with this girl and he cheated with that girl. And oh, he's so bad. And he won't have sex with me now. And he just goes out with his wrestling buddies. And I don't like Brutus Beefcake. And like, it just got to be too much for me after a while. And as I mentioned, there's very little insight into it about wrestling. And her attitude on some of these things are just amazing. There's a little part here I'm going to read. She's talking about, this is just after the first WrestleMania. So back in 1985, Hogan's got the belt at this time. Hogan's become a big TV star. She goes, I'd like to think I had a lot to do with changing the image of how people perceived wrestling and the wrestlers outside the ring. When people saw Terry and me walk out into a red carpet dressed in classy black tie fashion, I think fans looked at him a bit differently. Some of them even asked me for my autograph. It's just like, it's ridiculous.
Well,
man.
That I don't doubt, Mouth. We've run into fans who have often gone after autograph seeking the wives of wrestlers. I wouldn't doubt she has signed a few autographs or two.
I don't know. Again, it's not for me with a biography and autobiography. I don't want to listen to the subject harp and bitch and complain. I want to know some insights into your life, the other people involved with your life. I don't want to hear you bitch and complain, and that's all she did the whole book. And so, yeah, not so good.
Yeah, it's not a book that I probably am going to go out of my way to read. It's just one of those books where I'm simply reading it because you were attached to somebody that people do have an interest in.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it exactly. That's why I read it mostly because I read it because I wanted to
that
see shit
and the back photo where it's the two of them on the beach and
they ripped it in half.
The picture is torn in half.
Yeah.
So that is it, everyone. If you want to pick it up, Wrestling the Hulk, Linda Hogan. It's available now. My Life Against the Ropes, and she is actually shown in a ring against the ropes.
Yes, that's it. And it's it's available now, and
there you go, everybody.
Yeah.
Check it out. So let's get into some of your questions before we wrap things up. Quickly here, let's go to Chad Rivera. In your guys' opinions, what is the worst era in professional wrestling history? The popular choices are always the New Generation, WCW's pre-NWO Hogan era, WCW from 99 till the end, or Triple H's Reign of Terror from 02 to 04.
No, you know what? No. The worst era, seriously, still to me as a fan, was what Jay calls the lean years.
Yeah.
When Jay always calls it the lean years, and that's that period from about 91, 92 till about, 97, I guess, 96, 97, where Vince was just coming up with the most inane characters. That's when we had, like, Duke the Dumpster Droese and the baseball player. I forget what his name was.
MVP was one of them.
It was one of the ones where it was so kiddie oriented that it just that's what the Doink the Clowns, and it was hurting. That to me is the worst period. All those other ones, they had their bad moments, but the lean years was really, really bad, I thought.
That to me, I started watching wrestling 92-ish. I actually started watching during
in the lean
those
years,
proverbial lean years, and I remember it got really bad around 95 or so for me, and it was just that I wasn't watching WCW at the time, but you were getting a similar kind of product from them as well. I mean, they had some good talent, but they also had some just horrible storylines.
The thing with WCW is that you usually but see, in the lean years in the Fed, there was no really great performers in the ring, so you were getting really bad matches.
But at least Diesel era.
At least in Men on a Mission and all that kind of stuff. But at least in WCW, even though a lot of the angles were totally ridiculous. I always think of that one with Vader and Davey Boy Smith and Sting on the beach and the boat blew up and all this stupid shit. But the matches, at least the matches in the ring, usually delivered. You got to see some good workers. You had guys like Arn Anderson and guys like that who could have really good matches. But a lot of the writing was just ridiculous.
Dave Power writes in, do you think WWE has devalued the Royal Rumble? At Money in the Bank, there will be two guys who can have a title shot whenever they wish, but the winner of the Rumble only gets a prearranged title shot at Mania, not even the main event slot. Also, seeing as it seems to be a successful pay-per-view, do you think Money in the Bank is now one of the big four, along with Rumble, Mania, and SummerSlam?
Well, I don't know. Well, I guess, after this year's show, it's going to be one of the big ones this year, that's for sure. I honestly don't know if a pay-per-view is going to top this one this year. It's amazing. Whether it becomes one of the big four, I guess that's just up to perception, really. I mean, and the Royal Rumble being devalued, I don't think so. I don't think you can devalue the Royal Rumble, not to the hardcore fan anyways, because, again, I use Jay as my example. Jay, that's one of his favorite pay-per-views of the year. He so looks forward to the Royal Rumble every year because of the surprises. I don't think having a whole Money in the Bank pay-per-view disrupts Rumble. And besides, most of the time, the Money in the Bank guys have used their shot by Royal Rumble time anyways, right? Like it's usually been moved on anyways.
Yeah, I think the key is always trying. Like there were a few years ago when Cena won the Rumble and he ended up using his title shot at the February pay-per-view instead of WrestleMania. And I think once you get away from the winner of the Rumble getting their WrestleMania title shot, you're kind of just saying to people that, this is not the prestige it used to be where you're getting into WrestleMania. And really, even this year, I mean, with Del Rio winning the Rumble, and then he was, him and Edge opened up WrestleMania this year. So I think it's just, making people believe that whoever wins the Rumble is a top guy and is going to be in a featured match.
That's what it is, exactly. That's the importance of the Rumble, is helping you create a guy that you can put up into the main event mix, right?
Let's continue onwards. From Chris in L.A., what is your favorite band of all time? He says his is Earth, Wind, and Fire. And he says the Stones are probably his second.
Okay, well, I like both of those bands. I've gone to see Earth, Wind, and Fire twice. They're an amazingly excellent funk band, especially when they play live. But, I think anyone that's listened to the show for any length of time knows what my favorite band is. I always go with Motorhead, and that's long before they were doing themes for wrestlers or anything like that. I've been a fan of Motorhead ever since I was in high school. To me, they're the epitome. A lot of people say the Rolling Stones are the world's greatest rock and roll band, but I don't agree with that. I think Motorhead is the world's greatest rock and roll band.
Their guitarist has passed away this week.
Yeah, Wurzel, who was in the band from about 84, 85 till about he was in the band for a good 10 years, and very talented guitar player. He just passed away this week. That's right. But John will tell you, I like a lot of music. I have a huge record collection. I have a huge CD collection. I listen to music in almost every genre. But you want to know my favorite band? It's very easy for me to say Motorhead.
Mouth is the music authority. You and Way would have some.
Me and Way always have great conversations about music. Yeah,
it's rather entertaining to hear. We go to Josh Thomas here. Hey guys, any chance of interviewing Shane McMahon? And also in the 90s, Mouth, who was your favorite WWF champion? You've actually interviewed Shane McMahon. I don't know if you remember this. Remember when they were here in Toronto?
Yeah, that's right. It was really quick. I only got like 2 or 3 questions because it was kind of like a press scrum.
Yeah.
But that's right. Yeah, that's right. I would love to have Shane on. I don't know if he would come on and talk about wrestling now, though, because he's removed from it and he's trying to do other things. He was spotted at some big golf tournament a couple weeks ago.
He's involved. He's on the board of directors for a talent management company, and now he's working on getting a lot of pay-per-view content into China, which if he gets the ball rolling on that is going to be massive for him. If he gets that in there, like China is just such a huge market, but it's so difficult to get in there.
Yeah, I would love to do Shane McMahon. I just don't know whether he'd be interested in talking about wrestling at this point, because it's been more than a year now that he's been, like, how long's it been since he left?
He left 2 years ago, so 2.5 years ago.
So there you go. It's been quite a while, But it might be interesting, That's a good one, John. Maybe you need to
I'll work on it. Shane McMahon.
And what was the other part?
Your favorite WWF champion during the 90s?
I
don't think it was Kevin Nash.
Diesel, lowest drawing champion.
So your
I'm guessing it's going to be Bret Hart. Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels. Really. Most of the other guys. Flair got to be a champion there a little bit in the early 90s. But, his WWF run was certainly not compared to some of his classic runs in the NWA, that's for sure.
So funny how Shawn Michaels would have been remembered had he not made the comeback in 2002. Like, he was always regarded as top flight worker, but just A1 asshole.
Yeah, no, you're so right, man. He so cleared his name with that comeback, because he seemed to be in a much better place. He wasn't always jockeying for the best position or pulling dumb stunts to get his way. Yeah, no, you're right. People would not look at him with quite the shine that they do now, for sure.
Let's go to Colin Henderson. What has been your favorite live event you've ever attended?
Oh, man.
And if you could only go to one, would you attend a pro wrestling house show or a television taping? Do you have a preference, I guess, a house show or live a television taping?
I mean, the television tapings are always usually a little bit more interesting. House shows, they get into a certain pattern very quickly, right? I think most exciting live one I've ever been to was WrestleMania 6 right here in Toronto. That was an incredible show to be here live. The city was incredibly pumped. That's pretty well the last big year of that initial 80s run, 1990 there, WrestleMania 6. It kind of started to die off a little bit after that. But it was a very electric time here in Toronto. The Sky Dome had just been built. It was new that year. WrestleMania 6 was one of the first big events to be held there. And it was off the charts for Hogan versus Warrior because it was built up really well, and a lot of the younger kids liked Warrior, but Hogan was getting ready to take some time off, and for me to be in the building, one of the few times Hogan was pinned his entire career. It was huge. It was off the charts, and as I've always said, I mean, there were little kids crying afterwards because they were so upset that Hogan lost like that. I don't think I've ever been to a live event that passes that one.
How would you compare? Because I didn't go to WrestleMania 6, but I did go to 18 with Rock and Hogan. That to me was the hottest match I've ever been to live.
You know what? You are right. It was certainly on that same level as what it was like with the Warrior. Because that match I was ringside for that WrestleMania here in Toronto, and it was off the charts too. You're right, it was pretty spectacular live. Mania shows are always, they're pretty, especially if it's an area like Toronto that's always had a huge wrestling history. Those type of shows are usually pretty big.
Yeah, Allstate Arena was that's where me and Way went for WrestleMania 22, where Money in the Bank was tonight, and the main event for that night with Hunter and Cena was incredible, just for that crowd just to be so anti-Cena, and that was kind of just when it was really taking off of people really getting on Cena in these big pay-per-view live events.
I'm guessing if we'd actually been in Chicago tonight, we would probably be picking tonight as one of us.
It sounded awesome.
Because it just sounded on the... And, sometimes pay-per-view, they don't even capture the intensity. Well, Christ, if it was as intense as it sounded on the pay-per-view, then it was nuts.
Do a few more here. Nate Milton. Hey, brothers, given the current state of the industry, would either of you still be watching wrestling if you weren't working at the Fight Network or doing the law?
I love it when people ask this question. You know what? I think... Well...
I've always said before, I would definitely watch as much UFC and MMA as I do now.
Oh yeah, no, that
I think I would watch Raw every week.
I think I would pay attention to WWE. I don't think I'd have any problem dropping Impact or TNA. I don't think I would have any problem with that. I would still stick with. I would still want to check out stuff like Ring of Honor. Even if I was
SmackDown, I don't think I'd really miss it.
Yeah, I think I would watch Raw to kind of see what, like you say, to kind of see what's going on. Maybe check out occasional pay-per-view. But I would still. I mean, I've always been interested in stuff from Japan, and I love watching Ring of Honor. So I think I would probably stay with those. But yeah, I don't think it wouldn't be as intense as what it is now. That's for sure.
Theo.
We got to keep you guys up to date. I certainly wouldn't be reading Linda Hogan's book if I wasn't doing this show. Let me tell you that right now.
From Theo, where is Tom Zink these days? And any chance of having him on for one of his legendary interviews, shooting like he does on The Business? Tom Zink, for those that haven't been following the law, 10 years ago,
he was on quite a bit.
You and Jeff found Tom Zink, and he became this sensation on the internet after he appeared on our show, and then he did Meltzer's show, and I guess tell us about Tom Zink. Did you ever get to interview him yourself? Because he was on live a bunch of times, right?
Yeah, exactly. Most of I think pretty well every time we had him on was live. I don't know if we taped any in advance or not. But he was always a firecracker, especially at first. And just anybody, he didn't care who he talked about, and a lot of good stuff with him about WCW and Brian Pillman and all that kind of stuff because he was around in that era. But he was very outspoken for quite a while, and then all of a sudden he vanished. Didn't he close down his website? And
the word going around was that he had done something, and I think the WWE legal team scared him off. But I don't know. That's all hearsay.
Yeah,
and
I just remember him being really vocal and then disappearing, and then that was it, you know?
Like, believe me, I've tried over the years to try and get a hold of this guy, and I've spoken to people who know him, and he's just pretty much removed himself from the public altogether. It's really strange. Like, he's almost gone into that where Perry Saturn was at one point.
Where people don't even know where he is.
Disappeared.
Yeah.
But
which is funny because he was so vocal at one point. Like he was the guy you went to if you wanted some controversial, you wanted some really fiery stuff. He was the guy. But yeah, I think it probably caught up with him, maybe bit him in the ass, and he just.
I think he also got into it a lot. Where by the end, when he was doing certain interviews at places, it was like he was so over the top, and it was just a little
too much.
Yeah. And finally, Patrick Toney. Why does the new generation era, late 93 to 97, always get a bad rap? I admit there were more over-the-top gimmicks during that period. However, I was more entertained during that period than I am now. Only entertaining thing in the company right now is the CM Punk angle.
I don't know.
I think that's more fondly remembering.
I was going to say, it depends on what got you into it. I mean, you were just talking about how you got into it in the early 90s and stuff like that. So, when you're first getting into it and it genuinely attracts you, you don't know any good from bad. Whatever. Like, I mean, I'm the way I am because I went and saw it when I was 8 years old in 1974, and I saw Andre the Giant fight 8 guys at once and throw them out of the ring. And as a little kid, I was like, this is fantastic. It's like a superhero thing. But yeah, I think that definitely does sound like some nostalgia because the thing about that era was they came up with so many gimmicks, and the guys would maybe be in for 2 weeks, the gimmick didn't work, and they would just disappear again. And so many guys got reworked over, and think about Barry Darsow is always the great example. He's one of the guys in Demolition, and then he's Repo Man, and then he's the other guy, and then he's in WCW and he's a golfer or something.
Ed Leslie had the same treatment.
Oh yeah, there's another guy exactly.
The man with no name.
Oh, Zodiac, Booty, wasn't he Booty Man?
Booty Man. Oh Christ. Yeah, the Disciple.
And that happened a lot in that time period, especially in WWE. They were throwing stuff at the wall constantly, and hardly any of it was working. So
it's funny, 15, 20 years from now, there's going to be, when the 10-year-olds of today grow up, it's going to be talk about, back when I was a kid, it was awesome when John Cena and Batista, and it's just how you remember your childhood being that. There's that era of when you grow up that nothing is ever going to come close to it.
It's not just wrestling, it's everything. It's TV, it's movies, it's books, it's music. It's all kinds of stuff, right? It's just, see, when you're young, you're forming, you're turning into who you are, and there's going to be certain things that are going to really impress you along the way. No matter if I sat here every week on the radio and said it was shitty, it doesn't matter, If you catch into it when you're young, you hook, that's it.
Breaking news here, Mouth.
Did Punk Twitter?
CM Punk's WWE Universe page has been taken down by the WWE.
Ooh,
so that means it's a shoot.
There you go.
Well, that will wrap us up. Thank you to all of your questions. Sorry if we couldn't get to all of them. But,
great questions, man. I'm getting a kick out of the way they're asking ones that aren't even wrestling oriented.
Absolutely.
I think that's fun.
You can ask whatever you would like,
keep
everyone.
them up.
So we will be back next week. Just received the DVD this week, and maybe we'll get another review in next week. So, one of Mouth's reviews.
I can't see it being any worse than this piece of shit, that's for sure.
What would you give it out of a 10, Mouth? Where does the Linda Hogan book?
That book? 2.
A 2?
Yeah.
So there you go, everyone.
Yeah, a 2.
There's something in it for you.
A 2, just like the big sign that got taken away tonight at the pay-per-view.
That's true.
It's
it
a 2.
did get confiscated. Yeah. All right, so that'll end it off. A very, very long podcast, everybody. But thanks to everybody for tuning into The Law, calling in, and then checking out Law Extra. We will be back next week. Checking out Law Extra. We will be back next week. Checking out Law Extra. We will be back next week. Checking out Law Extra. We will be back next week. Checking out Law Extra. We will be back next week. Checking out Law Extra. We will be back next week. Checking out Law Extra. We will be back next week. Checking out Law Extra. We will be back next week. Checking out Law Extra. We will be back next week. Checking out Law Extra. We will be back next week. Checking out Law Extra. We will be back next week. Checking out Law Extra. We will be back next week. Checking out Law Extra. We will be back next week. Checking out Law Extra. We will be back next week. Checking out Law Extra.